right, hello and welcome to Adventures in Lollygagging. We are playing a game tonight called Let Us In. It is a little horror adventure. But if you watch our channel, you know that we play Ultraviolet Grasslands every other Monday, and we love it. But the same person who developed Ultraviolet Grasslands, Luca Reyes, he's went and put together Let Us In for this. And so this just released a couple weeks ago, actually, just like about a month ago, I think it was, like right before Halloween. I wanted to get it out for Halloween, but the schedules didn't really align. Some stuff came up, but fortunately, we're gonna try to play it now as we're down along. Yeah, we figured let's do something else tonight. So it is kind of like if you see the cover, it's a Neo-70s horror adventure. So it's creepy at times, but don't worry about like necessarily big body horror slasher things like you've seen in some of our other stuff like Alien and whatnot. So, but it should be fun. It should be fun. Thank you for the subs and the bits as people are trying to incrementally get us into a hype train right now. Let's see. So before we get going, a couple plugs. So this week's been a weird week, obviously, because in the U.S. Thanksgiving kind of throws schedules to a loop. Holidays are starting to hit, and so you're going to see like our schedule's going to kind of get a little loopy. But on Monday, we should be back for Alien just fine. Next Thursday, over on Garblag Games, we should be able to do our Delta Green Visit. That's what our schedule says. Not sure about next Friday. It's possible we could be having to reschedule our Delta Green game for Friday. And then One Ring should be next Saturday, even though, boy, that is one cursed game. So we'll try to get it. We'll try to get there. So other things, yeah, if you're interested, like if you're watching this now, or you know, if you're keeping an eye on this as we play, and you're curious about like kind of getting the yourself, you can Let Us In a couple different places. But like right now, over on Exalted Funeral, there we go. I just dropped the link in the chat. You can kind of grab it there. You can get a little hard copy. You can get a PDF of it and everything too. And the other thing I should mention is hey, Bert. The other thing I should mention is we're going to be using, like, it's a system neutral game, so you can kind of use whatever you want. It has, like, within the adventure, it kind of gives you a basic resolution mechanic. It's not a very complicated game, but it also says just use whatever, you know, simple game system you like. And we like Into the Odd, Electric Bastion Land, so we've played that a bunch, and we're going to use that here. Very simple game. But the cool thing is that two of the games that we play a lot on the channel that we really, really love, Ultraviolet Grasslands and Electric Bashlands, are both over at the Bundle of Holding right now. So if you go to Bundle of Holding, you can kind of grab both of them. I can spell holding as I'm trying to drop this in the chat for people who are on watching the Twitch stream. If you go check that out, you can get Electric Bastion Land, you can get Ultraviolet Grasslands, and you can get Against the Dark Master, which is actually another really, really good game. So lots of cool games that are available right now. So go take a look. But I think that's it. As I kind of stall, we are so close to a level 2 hype train. I'm sure Melissa will figure something out to push us over that. But I think it's time we start, right? I think we should just kind of get into it. We're not going to do character introductions. You see their names on the screen. These are all pre-mades, we should mention. The setting for this is the Lastlands, which is kind of one of the settings that you can kind of dig into with some of the that you get from Ultraviolet Grasslands and Witchburner and Long Winter. These are other things that Luca Reyes has put out. Some of them are set in the Lastlands, and this is sort of their basically modernish, kind of think of it like a 70s vibe. You're going to see things that are similar to cars. You can see things similar to like televisions. You can see things similar to like phones and stuff like that. So if you're kind of wondering if we throw out some weird terms here and there, like there are kind of approximations and such. So keep that in mind as we go. And we've hit level 2. You guys are so nice. Thank you for giving me your money. I really do appreciate that. Amazon also thanks you, as they're probably, or Twitch, they're probably getting half of this as well, more than half. But let's dive in. So let me pull up my notes, of which I have very little. Okay. So we're gonna start out, make a little mood music going. Let's get a little mood music. What do we want to do? Let's start with this one. It's my favorite sound. If that music gets too loud, it'll kick in a second. If that gets too loud and starts to drown us out, let us know, and we will make adjustments. Okay. We're going to come in all cinematically, right? Okay. We're going to scene in on what sounds like an engine. There it goes. What sounds like an engine, kind of a humming engine. And slowly it kind of camera fades in and we see a teal vehicle that's just kind of cruising along these roads. It's not unlike a DeLorean, if you're familiar with Back to the Future DeLorean type of thing. Kind of sleek looking, stylish. The western sky is like swiftly shifting from like reds to purples. You see like these fast stars beginning to emerge in the sky, flickering. You see these slow stars beginning to pierce as well. It's getting darker and darker. It's also cold as it's kind of windy outside. You can see some of these sparse trees here and there that are devoid of some of their foliage, as we are in the late wintry months, maybe a late October or maybe a mid-November or something like that. And as we're kind of following this auto golem, as we're going to call it, which is effectively a car, we start to hear a voiceover of an old woman as she's reading a letter to her dearest niece by the name of Elmina, who is played by Ashley. I'm gonna go ahead and share with the players the actual letter so you can read along with me. But the letter, it's kind of rumpled up. It's kind of as though it's been like folded in a way in a pocket. Maybe like we get a briefest zoom in between like some tinted windows of the auto golem, and we see maybe somebody unfolding it and reading it. And says, "Elmina, my dear, please ignore the previous letters. You do not have to come and take us home. Everything is all right, and my worries now seem pretty foolish. Aranka is taking all possible precautions, and my mind is quite at ease. Use the little extra I wired you to get something nice, perhaps the hiking suit that you wanted for the Mountains of the Moon, or a holiday. You've been studying so hard at the academy after all." And it's signed, "With love and affection, your Aunt Vera." And so as the voiceover kind of fades down, suddenly we start seeing the lights of a town on the horizon kind of begin to blaze like flares. The auto golem continues to cruise. The sound of muffled music now begins to hit our ears from inside the vehicle itself. As it kind of turns its wheels, we hear a distant dog howling, and then a pack also howling in answer. We see the eyes of sheep glint up ahead as the headlights of the auto golem reflect off of each of these eyes. The auto golem turns down this gravel drive, and we see like pale dust begin to sparkle right in front as the gravel and the dirt begin to kick up. A black gate topped with spikes and razor wire momentarily stops your vehicle. And then with a fizz, like a tss, an orange floodlight comes on. And then there's a little bit of a whine as an electric motor begins to churn, and the gate slowly pulls open, like almost belabored in its movements. The autumn golem just pushes inside, rolls to a stop somewhere in a driveway, and all of you now see this sleek modernist mansion that comes into view. You can see that the front door itself, as the headlights whip past it, is ajar. You hear a dog begin to bark from somewhere, and the gate slowly closes behind. One of the doors of the auto golem begins to rise, opening the way a DeLorean or a Lamborghini might open. And you hear the muffled music that was kind of hard to hear initially now becomes clear as the song "People Are Odd" by The Other Doors is playing inside this 60s, 70s kind of psychedelic melody. And we see a figure step out. Derek, what do we see as you step out of the vehicle?
You see a stout but rotund man with a bristly mustache, and just a like like shaggy hair, kind of unkempt a little bit. Um, and yeah, he just breathes in the fresh air of the evening.
And as you get out, like you can feel a bit of cold kind of kick through you. Do you have any kind of coat or anything on? Something to it's winter winds and stuff that are cutting through you.
Yeah, he has just like a very like worn trench coat.
Okay. Can you go ahead and roll a d8 for me? And make sure you call your rolls out since we're not showing dice tonight.
I got a 3.
Okay. So as the camera zooms in on Yasha Okovi, Derek's character, we get a kind of brief flashback to sometime over the last couple of hours as you were driving. You at one point there's been an image that's kind of been sitting with you for the last 45 minutes or so since you saw it. You saw just before the sun, just before the lights kind of went out and the darkness kind of came up, as you were passing by the autumn golem, you saw a group of calm children. They weren't acting strange, crazily, or anything like that. They weren't yelling or screaming, fighting, but they seemed to have been on the near on the side of the road, just off. They were gathering a bunch of dead birds in a pile. And I'm just curious what was going through Yash's mind as he saw this happen.
He'll take even in the wind. He tries to take out a cigarette and his lighter, just can't seem to get it to light. And he's just thinking to himself, "Must be starving out here. This cold."
Okay. So you reach back after lighting your cigarette. You kind of pull the seat forward, and then another figure empties out of the car and kind of sitting in the back seat of the auto golem. Melissa, what do we see kind of pushing her way out into the cold winter air?
So next out of the vehicle is Amata Lastrada.
Okay.
And when she gets out, she's got long curly hair, kind of a reddish curly hair. And um, she's slender. She stands very tall, um, and just immediately sort of gives off that kind of nose in the air kind of feel to her. She's got kind of the like platformy boots, long burgundy pants, paisley top, um, and kind of that like lined corduroy jacket that looks like it's been worn maybe once or twice.
Okay.
Like everything about her definitely looks new, crisp, and she's like trying to brush off. If she like steps in anything, she's definitely trying to kind of brush everything off.
Okay. Roll a d8 as well, please.
Two.
Okay. You as you were, and this is some time over the last hour as you've been driving through the woods, as you've been kind of working through the backwater to get to this fairly remote town where your friend's aunt is said to live. You too saw kind of something along that's been just kind of eating away in the back of your mind for a while, and it just didn't seem all that big a deal at first, but now you start thinking about it more and more. It's just for some reason it just kind of keeps eating away, and it was a park, just a simple park, nothing special, but it was filled with people, dozens of people, and all of them were just staring up at the sun. And as you kind of start going back in your mind and thinking about it, you're pretty sure nobody was not staring at the sun. Every single one of them was just sort of looking up at this setting sun just before the night sky opened up. What did you think about that image, and why, and like what are you thinking about that now? Why is that image kind of still lingering in your mind, do you think?
Um, I would say Amada kind of prides herself on not doing things that everyone else is doing. And so, like, her thought is just sort of that, like, ugh, I mean, I suppose it was pretty, but I mean, just like sheep. Everyone's just staring in the same direction. Like, ugh, just think for yourself sometimes.
And then finally, we hear the as the other side of the car, the door from what would be like the passenger side opens up, and we see another figure step out. Ashley, what do we see?
You see a pretty tall woman. She's got feathered blonde hair, and she's wearing like these really bright golden velvet bell-bottom pants. And then she's got like a crop top and even though it's freezing outside and windy, and then she's got her long, almost like wool coat that she's bundling up, and she's even holding it more close because she's like, oh my god,
Okay.
why did I wear this?
Okay. All right. And that is Elmina Zayadabor. You are the niece of the old woman whose voice we heard on the letter, the voiceover there. Go ahead and roll D8.
Okay. I rolled a 6.
Okay. As you were getting a little closer and closer to your aunt's home, maybe you pulled out the letter more than once, and Yasha or Amada weren't necessarily being the most exquisite conversationalists. Every now and then you cast an eye out the window, and as it was getting darker, there were still lights coming from some of the cottages and homes along the roads that you passed, but you just remember every time it seemed you passed by one of those cottages, a family would just suddenly file out of their home, one after the other, and just kind of all stare, heads turning, watching as the golem passes out of view each time. Why does this image stick with you?
Because it's creepy.
Okay. All right. So everyone's out. You hear the doors begin to close. And it's that point that the ajar door up in front, you can hear a dog kind of barking in the distance, then goes quiet. All of you kind of with a sudden small start, you hear a rattle from behind you as you look back at the now closed black gates behind you. And when you turn, you look and you see that there's a few of these strange, no better way to put it, but beige people that are just standing at the gates, rattling them, shaking, kind of trying to pull it apart here and there. And in the distance where you can kind of get some starlight in the fields surrounding this mansion, you can see that there's silhouettes of more people coming, kind of slowly moving in your direction, some quickly moving in your direction. And as you're watching, like in unison, all of them at the gate suddenly turn, cock their heads, the same angle, the same time, and they say, echoing off one another, "Good afternoon. May we come in, please?" What do you guys do? I turn it over to you now.
This is my aunt's house, right?
This is where your aunt's been staying, specifically with a person named Aranka. Could be your uncle, could just be a friend of your aunt's, however you want to define it.
If I were you, I wouldn't listen to them, and I wouldn't open that. It was closed for a reason. It's protected the way that it is for a reason. Let me look at the stuff on top.
I mean, my goodness, I hope you wouldn't let them into the property. My goodness, we should know who they are before we let them in.
You'd be surprised how persuasive they can be sometimes.
I mean, I'm not the lady of the house, so perhaps we should just go inside.
That sounds like a good idea. I could use a drink. I mean, that was a very long car ride.
Okay.
Yeah, I really need to use the restroom.
So as you ascend the stairs up towards that open door to go inside, you just hear the rattling. Like, let us in. You'll like it. You'll see. And like all of it's in unison. But you you plunge into the home. And, when you first get into the home, you realize, like, it's kind of dark. You're not sure how much light is currently on. You don't really, it doesn't look like there's been particularly recent activity. Jake and Steve, that's good. I'm going to go ahead and bring you to a map, the three of you. You can kind of see a little bit of where we're at. So you all park the auto golem out in the driveway there, and you ascended into the stair. Now, don't let this map that you're seeing, this is more just for ease, but don't let this, it's not perfectly laid out. It's somewhat abstracted in certain ways, but you you ascend into the foyer of the home. When you look around as you're like walking up, you can see kind of around this big area, and it's not just one single house, but it's more like a compound, right? There's like other buildings here and there that you can see scattered about. This is not a place that you've likely been before, Elmina or Amada, but you can see that there's other buildings here and there, some vegetation, things like that, and a decent spread. But you go right inside, and as you push through the door, it's open. It's kind of like this cool minimalism in the house. Polished concrete, sort of a double-story ceiling with this like spider knot chandelier, not lit, not giving off any light, just hanging over it. You can see flanking the walls on either side are a series of these cubist sculptures, like fairly heavy, probably carved from some kind of metal or made from some kind of metal. And you can see there's a shrine in here, like this wash basin with a soap and disinfectant and paper towels kind of right in the way. And you can see that you can kind of continue further in if you want. But you don't see any signs of anyone greeting you. No aunt, no servant, nothing like that.
Elmina, what kind of place is this? You walk inside and no one comes and takes your bags, and what? I don't understand.
And Elmina just kind of like looks at Amada, and she's like, I mean, it's a house. And she's just a student. She's not very ritzy, even though she should be. She's just
Well,
like,
I suppose I'm gonna have to go make my own drink then, and so Amada's gonna go looking for some sort of a wet bar or something.
Okay. So you just kind of like quickly push through the rooms looking for any sign of some kind of bar or some kind of...
As if she owns the place.
Sure. Yeah. What do the rest of you do?
I'm gonna like call out for my aunt, and so she's just gonna be like, Auntie Vera?
Okay.
As she like maybe starts to head upstairs.
Okay. How loud do you want to call? You just like shouting full throated?
I'm not like screaming, but I'm just like I just Auntie Vera, like if you're calling out to a room.
Okay. All right. Fair enough. So you start going up the stairs. You can see the stairs themselves are like kind of this fairly ornate kind of double helix of glass and steel. It's got this like frosted side of glass as you kind of start whooping, like kind of routing your way up. What does Yasha do?
So how is it dark in the house right now? There's no light sources on?
Doesn't appear like it's not like pitch black. There's ambient light here and there. I mean, your first instinct is you're not sure anyone's home.
Yeah.
Like you think maybe someone just hasn't turned the lights on. They're not home, that kind of thing. But there's lights here and there, ambient sources, some appliances here and there might be running.
Okay. Yasha is just going to look for the nearest light switch to try and turn on the chandelier or just the lights.
Yeah, you start feeling around, looking for the switch that might kind of put on some light. And yeah, you do manage to get some. They kind of flicker a bit, like they're struggling, and then eventually they kind of come on, and there's this sort of mood lighting sets up. It's not like really bright. It's more like stylistic and everything. And again, it seems to pop open both the foyer and what looks like some kind of cloakroom that's offset right next to the foyer itself. And you can see the staircase where Elmina is beginning to ascend, and like right above them, a few of these kind of hanging crystals begin to slowly illuminate, kind of giving you a better view as you walk up. So Amada, as you kind of push through, you can find that there's this kind of waiting room area. It's got like a bunch of these minimalist sofas, kind of low cut to the ground, something you might, get out of like, IKEA or something like that. You see glass tables, and you do in fact find a drink cabinet, and you also see there's a television set. And there's a window that has, when you look out, there's a view of the driveway. And you can see that orange light is above the gate is still kind of flickering here and there as the flick it might still be on. It might be going away. You're not sure if it's like motion sensor or not, but you can see that there's even more of those figures that have now joined the others and kind of their unison out in front of the gate there. You look around, there's a couple different tables here and there. They seem to have like games on them or something, a couple newspapers. And there looks to be a cabinet, like a little bar area for making drinks. Looks like a little wine cabinet too.
Okay, so Amada's gonna go over to the window and just and just look to see if there's sort of a curtain to draw or anything to just sort of.
Yeah. No, there are these. This is amazing. So yeah, you close the curtain up, no problem, and you no longer have to see them.
Fantastic. For sure. So then Amada's gonna go. She's gonna look for some vodka and try to start making some drinks for.
Okay. You look around for vodka. I say, do we do lucks in this game? Let's see if there's luck. I can't remember if there's luck. I'll tell you what. Just roll like a will test as you're searching and looking. Well, more along the lines of like you're searching and you're trying to figure out how long you're gonna take to find some.
So I rolled a 2 under 12.
Okay, that's a success. So we're playing again with Into the Odd rules, which is a D20 game. There's 3 stats: strength, dex, and willpower. And your score, which you do whenever you're tested, you basically roll a save and you roll a D20. If you're equal or under, you're good to go. If you're over, you're not good to go. So yeah, you go through what looks like a cabinet filled with a bunch of different mixing wines, some mineral water, and some like kind of club soda, that kind of stuff. And you were able to find eventually in the back some vodka that you're able to pull out. And you can track this stuff, by the way, if you want, like on your sheets. You're welcome to add stuff as you like. Okay. So we'll kick back over to Elmina. Elmina, you're going up the stairs, you said, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so you've seen the lights kind of start to come on. You kind of look around, and you can get kind of a decent view of what looks like the ground floor, the main floor that you're on right now. And you can kind of see Amada has gone a little bit out of view. She's usually around you. She's your drinking buddy. And she has very quickly gone and found what looks like a wet bar. Yasha is still, you don't know very well. You've hired him just to kind of help you navigate this weird backwoods area that you don't know all that well. He's almost like an Uber driver plus, who doesn't just drive you, but also helps you find things.
Out with you.
Yeah, he helps you. But you start going up the stairs, sure. And so you kind of get to the landing area and you're calling out, and you don't get any kind of response at any point for anything. You look up here, you can see that there's, it looks like bedrooms most likely. You see a series of doors that you would imagine are likely bedrooms, several of them. It's a huge, grandiose home. One set of double doors that you would imagine might be a master bedroom. What would you like to do?
I'm gonna start like looking in the rooms, just like knocking and then peeking my head in.
Okay. Yeah. So yeah, you start like one by one, like systematically working your way down the hall. And, each of the kind of the guest bedrooms that you open, like the single door bedrooms, they're all, again, very modern, neat, tidy, almost sterile in some ways. Like you're not sure, if many of them have had people staying in them recently. But yeah, you start kind of moving about. Go ahead and, go ahead and roll a little dex, like a little dex check just as you're looking. I'm sorry, not dex, will, as you're kind of just looking around. I use will as kind of like an all-purpose thing.
4 under 12.
Sure, yeah. You find find a bunch of things. You start sifting through these. Basically, each of these rooms kind of gives you the vague impression of like a boutique hotel. You know, something kind of fancy and something kind of clever and modern. And you find like various collections of like different curios and things. There's like a bunch of pulp adventure novels. There's some like really nice like handkerchiefs and neckerchiefs. There's what looks like this model temple of Saint Clear Eyes. It's God within the Lastlands universe. And you also find what looks like a decorative sawed-off shotgun. In each of the baths that are kind of adjoining some of these rooms, there's, you know, showers, basins, wash hose, and ink kelp wreaths as you go through all of these. But yeah, this all takes some time. So I should say, generally speaking, actions as we're exploring, it's like 10, 20 minutes, you know, that kind of thing. So this is,
Okay.
that's why I'm kind of shifting. So that's what you're doing over the course of the time. If there's anything you want to do specifically when I cycle back, just let me know.
Okay.
Kick it back over, I think, to Yasha now. You flip the switch on, you found the switch, you get some lights on, you're still on the ground floor. The two women that you have driven here with, that you have agreed to help, they have completely separated from you. You can still see Amada, and you can kind of hear the clinking of glasses that you assume. Elmina has been shouting for Aunt Vera, and you see her disappear up the stairs. What do you do, Yasha?
Yeah. Yasha will kind of grumble to himself and then follow Elmina upstairs and just kind of like stay close, and then just he'll also keep an eye out to see if he sees anything. I'm assuming this place is like there's no cobwebs or anything, like it's still lived in.
No, it definitely has like a lived-in feel, from the sense of it doesn't look like it's been abandoned for months or years or anything like that.
Okay.
There is kind of a staleness to everything, like where it looks like stuff has been untouched for at least a little bit of time, hours, days, maybe. You're not sure. It's hard to put your pin on it, but like accumulation of dust and cobwebs. No, that's not what you're seeing. But you see Elmina just kind of rummaging through a variety of these guest rooms up here. There's the master bedroom as well. Also, I would say you would probably be able to notice this too, considering your profession. There's a you notice as you're up here that there's a like this paneled wall like along the sides and in between each of these bedrooms. And as you're looking, you notice that one of the panels is a little bit different, and you would recognize it as kind of like a discreet door that likely heads to an attic.
Okay. How long has Elmina been like opening doors and calling for her aunt now?
I mean, she's probably
Like 5 minutes.
She's probably been at this for about 10 minutes or so. Yeah.
Oh, 10 minutes. Yeah. So then Yasha will kind of like say to her, you know, you've been at this for a while. No one's coming. I really don't think anyone's in this part of the home. Where else would I mean, we could try another level if you want. I'm assuming this says multiple levels. I see. And he points to the wall. He's like, this looks like this goes up pretty significantly.
Yeah, I'll probably just peek in the master, and then we can head upstairs.
Okay, so the two of you head over towards the double doors that would go into the master bedroom. Let's jump back down to Amada, who has finished your first drink, and maybe you're onto your second. What are you doing down here, Amada?
So I am basically just making a Harvey Wallbanger for myself and Elmina.
Okay.
So I'm just making two at the same time, ready to go.
So
I'll go.
As you're here making the drinks, off on the wet bar, there's one of these holospheres. And it suddenly just begins, it out of nowhere. Like you hadn't been messing with it, you had been doing it, it was off. And you just hear it suddenly power up. And then static, almost overwhelmingly so. Go ahead and roll a dex save.
That is a 20 over 10.
That is a crit fail. Not 20. The quickness of which it came on and just the static was so loud and you weren't ready for it, you drop both the drinks and they clatter to the ground, glass crashing. Yasha, Elmina, you hear the sound of breaking glass from the floor below.
Yeah.
And you hear definitely just sort of just the like screech of just like, oh, what is this? Things just, oh, and you just hear a little scream.
Yeah, Yasha will rush down to the source of the sound.
Okay. Elmina?
I've spilt a drink before. I've had the same reaction. I'm just
Okay.
like, she'll be fine.
Okay. So you turn the handle, you start to go in. Rasha, you run down, and you can see when you're probably about halfway down the stairs, you have view of the kind of the waiting area where all the nice little not formal living room. I would say like, it's a bar area basically. And you can see Amada got a fairly big mess on her hands as glass is scattered about on the polished concrete floor. You can see there's liquid that's piled up, and there's some liquid on her feet as well, and under some of her clothes.
And seeing Yasha, Amada is just gonna sort of wave him over and just say, there must be a dustpan or something around here that you could clean this up. Maybe I'm trying to figure out what's going on with this.
Is there a problem in here, or did you just drop that?
I dropped it. Can you not find a dustpan somewhere?
Well, I'll leave that to you. I gotta make sure that Elmina's okay. Please be careful. And he walks back up the stairs.
Amada is just because Yasha was the driver, right?
Yasha has been hired as a guide because like where you're at is a fairly out of the way, little known town that neither you or Elmina have ever been to, and so like you can drive, but we don't. I think in our iteration of the Lastlands, we don't have like Google Maps to direct us. Even though your auto golem can kind of self drive to some degree, but like kind of helping you find where she lives and that kind of stuff.
So Amada's gonna just sort of step gingerly over
Okay.
the mess, and just sort of hit this little machine that just came on and made noise.
Yeah, so the holosphere, you know what a holosphere, it's basically a communication device. So I envision it as not necessarily, again, this game's anti-canon. It's kind of the thing, we iterate on it however we want. But I view it as like a communication thing, almost like when CNN does their little hollow things, and like when Star Wars does their little blue hollow things. I kind of picture it like that, right, to some degree. And so, yeah, it's just pure static at this point. It doesn't look to be functioning.
Is there anything that I can do in terms of knobs or dials or anything?
Roll will. See if you know anything.
That is a 19 over 12.
Yeah, you're not. I mean, like you start punching around with kind of knobs and dials and things like that. But all it is more static, and you're not really sure, like exactly, how to fix this. Like you don't have any kind of inner working knowledge of these things, right?
Okay, so Amada's going to just assume that there's some sort of towel or something sort of by the bar to just sort of pick up the wet glass and the liquid and just sort of put it in the sink and then remake the drinks.
Okay. All right.
And go find
So
Elmina.
you get back to remaking the drinks. Elmina, you had hand on the doorknob.
Yeah.
Pushing the doorknob open into this set of double doors. Yasha has gone down the stairs. You can hear him kind of shouting down to Amada. You can vaguely make out their conversation. You kind of got the right of it. You surmise Amada just made a goof, and that's probably it. But you push the door open, and you can see again. It's fairly dark in here, but there's like a bronze lamp that seems to be kind of flickering with a little bit of electricity, kind of giving some light to the room. You got these tasteful shades of beige and camel. You've got this very grand, beautiful bed, and a window that opens up to this beautiful panoramic view that you would imagine during the day and probably during like sunset or something that would be just absolutely gorgeous. You can see that there's a fairly discreet bathroom door off to one side of the room, and you can see that there's water on the floor as well. As you're looking, you can see that there's a bedside table. It's got a lamp. It's got some some little trinkets and things like that. And then there's the bathroom as well. That's that the door is closed, but the water is kind of pooling out like into the bedroom.
I'm gonna call out for like Vera or Aranka, and then I'm gonna knock on the bathroom door.
Okay. Yeah, you knock on the bathroom door, and you don't get any response. Amada, Yasha, you hear the call. It's so quiet in here. Other than that, Amada, the like you're right next to the Holosphere, but you can still hear it.
Yeah. I'm gonna presume the worst because I'm finding water under the door, and I'm gonna try and get in here.
Okay. Yasha's at this point. You probably push into the room as well, right as she's at the door to the bathroom. So you open the door.
What's going on?
There's like water all over the floor, and I'm just, what if something bad happened and I get the door open?
Is there something that Yasha could pick up for like a makeshift club, like an umbrella or?
Yeah, looking
anything?
around. Yeah, sure. Roll like a D100. Let's do D100 for luck. See if there's something in here.
Okay. I got an 86.
Yeah,
I think that's a fail.
Yeah, I'll say nothing looks great. So you grab the lamp, that'll do, but it's pretty unwieldy, but it'll do in the moment, but you probably want to find something better after this. Okay. You push the door open, Elmina, and it's dark. There's kind of a strange smell on the air in here. It's not too great. You can feel the water underneath your feet as you step through, and you can hear the lap, lap, lap. You're able to kind of open the door enough that you're getting some light from outside, from the ambience in the room, and you can see that it's a fairly white room, marble, kind of everything. Mm-hmm. There's what looks like an inch of water on the floor. You can see there's a straight razor on the ground, and there is a large bath full of bloody water, and there is a person that seems to be inside of it.
Oh my god, do I recognize them? Is it Aunt Vera?
Do you get close?
Oh god. Now you got me nervous.
You should get nervous. Listen to that music. That's the thing right there.
I'm gonna pick up the whatever razor blade. And
okay.
I'm gonna throw the curtains back if they're closed and see who's in the bathtub.
Reach down. You pick up the razor blade. Right as you do, the kind of the neon sphere lights that go over top of like the not the wash basin, but the sink area suddenly just begin to flicker, and light comes on, and you can see the entire room, and you see the bloated, dead face of your Aunt Vera right there in the middle of the bathtub. Go ahead and roll a will save. Yasha, you can do this as well, actually.
Fail.
Both of you take a point.
I also failed.
Both of you take a point of will damage, as you were not expecting to see the dead body of a bloated elderly woman.
Okay.
Just 1 point. Okay. What do you do? And then suddenly the neon, like the light begins to flicker and stop. And it becomes dark once more. But you still have like the residue of the contours of the room in your eyes once it becomes dark.
She looked like, when I saw her briefly, like she clearly slit her own wrists, or?
It's hard to say. It does look like she has been, her arms have been cut up. Whether or not she did them, hard to tell.
Elmina will just kind of like gasp, and she'll take a step backwards, probably bumping into Yasha, and she's just like, I can't look at her.
It's okay. Give me, just sit on the bed. Let me take a look. Can I look for a flashlight by any chance, since the lights are going in and out?
Yeah, same thing. Let's roll a luck test for you.
Oh, okay.
Did you say as a guide you tab that in your inventory?
You also do have a specific skill I think you can tap into at some point, Yasha. One of your actions.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I failed on this luck check again.
I think Ashley makes a good point. We'll say you have something on you, even if it's just like a Zippo lighter or something to give you light. You have something in your hand to give you light.
What if it's one of those funny ones where you have to crank it?
Oh God. Yeah, the flashlight that you have to like shake to charge it.
Okay.
So then Yasha will go into the bathroom and kneel down next to the tub and like inspect the body. Well, first he's gonna like he kind of looks behind to make sure that Elmina isn't looking, and he's gonna like pick up an item and throw it at the body and see if it moves or reacts.
Okay. Yeah. So you do that. You throw it at the body. Does not move or react other than like the momentum of which you poke or throw, kind of pushes it, but that's about it.
Okay.
So you take a look at it, and you're not entirely sure how long it's been in the water. It's not recent though. You can tell that this isn't something that just happened within the last hour or 2 hours. Like this is definitely, the body has definitely been in the water for, at least a day, maybe more. But it also doesn't look like it's been weeks. It doesn't look like this. You're not sure the exact time frame. You need to get some kind of forensic testing and stuff done on it to be sure. But
water accelerates things too, right?
Yeah. That's why it's hard to say. Definitely hasn't happened within today, and it certainly didn't happen like 3 weeks ago. But maybe a couple days.
Are there any like like birthmarks or scars or like identifying things that would confirm it's Vera that I could call out to Elmina?
Elmina, what is an identifying birthmark or some other scar or something like that your aunt would have?
So it's in this universe, it's very fashionable to have tattoos.
Okay.
I've decided.
It's fashionable in our universe too, isn't it?
Yeah, but I mean, like, even in like high society things, like, and so she's got these like almost like a rune tattooed like on her neck underneath her ear. It's like the family crest kind of thing.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
So Aunt Vera's got a neck tattoo. Yep. This old lady's got a neck tattoo. Good for her, man. Yeah. So you call that out, Yasha. You check it, and it's there. It's discolored, obviously, because things have, and she's a little bit older, so it's probably worn a bit here and there, and she's got more than a healthy bit of skin underneath
it's
her.
Very wrinkled now.
Yeah, but it's there.
Do I see any item that was used to make the cuts on her?
You did see
like next to the tub.
You did see Elmina pick up a straight razor that was on the ground.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought that was right next to the door.
That was on the ground a couple feet into the bathtub. So it could be, it could have been there, like it kind of slid or scattered or something like that. Oh God.
Was there blood on? So I call out to Elmina. Is there blood on that razor?
Yeah. There's blood on the razor. There's blood in the water as well. It's certainly been thinned out by the water in the bathroom.
And the cuts match up with something of that size.
Yeah, with a non-professional glance, yeah, you would think so.
Okay. I'll look around the room. Do I see like any footprints or anything like that? Any sign of a struggle?
You don't notice any signs of a struggle in here. Everything is fairly pristine, other than the ground. Like the marble flooring has that inch thick of water, so you can't even see footprints because the water here is kind of the pervading thing. You go back out into the master bedroom. You kind of peek around. Nothing catches your eye in terms of like clear footprints anywhere. No.
Okay. So then Yasha will just sit down next to Elmina, and he'll look at her and say, she read that letter out loud to us, or was that meta, or was that outside of our characters?
Elmina, it's up to you, I think, actually, whether or not you would have shared it with the other two of them.
I don't see why not. Like, probably the first time I had it, I would have maybe had been like mumbling it under my breath, and if I was next to him, like up front.
Mm-hmm. And that's
Yeah,
not the
okay.
only letter that you got, Elmina. You got some others that came prior that were kind of weird here and there, but and so like it's kind of loosely referenced in that letter, like, oh, don't worry about it, everything's fine now. So it's up to you how much you wanted to share. It's entirely your call, Elmina. Let's kick it back downstairs to Amada, as you've dutifully been making another set of drinks, which you have now done.
All right, finally.
What would you like to do?
Well, I'm definitely gonna go back and find. Yeah, I need to deliver the drink, so that's what I'm gonna do first.
Okay, so you go upstairs, and you find Elmina sitting on the bed, kind of a shocked look on her face. Is that fair, Elmina? Kind of like
Yeah.
yeah.
I'd say she's got like that kind of like shocked blank face, but there's still like some tears going down her cheeks.
Mm-hmm. And she's
she's
got
just-
a blade in her hand with some blood on it.
She's clutching it.
Oh, what do you have there?
Apparently Aunt Vera decided to kill herself, and she's in the bathroom.
Amada's gonna spin around. Does she see it? Does she see anything?
Spin around. That's back into the hallway. Do you go?
Well,
do you,
just toward the bathroom.
Yeah, if you go in towards the bathroom, you can see that Yasha is kind of poking around, looking around here and there, as if he's trying to kind of investigate this scene. And you do see the body in the bathtub. Yeah.
She's gonna drop one of the drinks.
And it scatters, and so another one of them, and it mixed with the water in the marble floor of the bathroom.
Oh dear. Oh goodness. Oh, and then she's gonna look back to her friend and just say, "Okay, can I trade you?" And she'll sort of hold out the drink, the one remaining drink, to Elmina, and try to just grab the razor blade out of her hand.
She'll like not let go of the razor blade, but with her other hand, she'll just hold the drink. So she's double fisting as she's just sitting there crying.
Okay. And I think I need to get that from you. So I'm gonna look around for like a scarf or a sock or anything to.
Yeah, easy enough. Yeah, that's easy enough to find.
Just here, dear. Just let me just.
Okay. And she just kind of like drops it into the scarf or whatever.
Yeah, and so like I'm not really touching it. I'm just sort of wrapping it up, and I'll find like a vanity or something to put it on.
Okay. Yeah, not a problem.
Can I look around the
What
rest of
next?
the room? Like, is there like a closet or anything else in here?
Yeah, there's things in here. You start poking around the room, and as you do, you kind of go over to like this very sleek modern dresser. That's probably where you found the cloth. And there's just clothes, nothing special in here. Maybe some jewelry. There's a small, looks like vidi crystal that as you come over pops on, and you see there's like a flat screen TV just suddenly flicker on. And it's like a rough connection, and you can see like the wave lines are kind of bouncing from left to right in the screen, but you can see what looks like a weather report, and like they're talking about just cold winds, possible snow, and as they're talking, like you can hear the undulation of the voices with each like kind of bend in the signal coming through, but it gives the whole room this kind of TV shine color, this sort of blue white saturation.
And she'll just instinctively just sort of pull her coat a little bit tighter.
Okay.
Why is Aunt Vera in the master? Where's Aronka? We gotta find Aronka. What?
Yeah.
You know what? Let's leave this room. I don't think you should just sit here staring into the bathroom. Let's go together and let's see who we can find.
Okay. So
Just
while you're in
yeah,
this
you
room,
snatch it
okay,
back, the knife.
it's fine. While you're in this room, Amada, you kind of push past the window, and you can look out towards what looks like a back gate. Like there's another gate that comes in, but it doesn't look like it's like auto golem size. It's probably just like a walking gate, and you can see a small grouping of figures has amassed there, kind of shaking here and there. You see a tree nearby as well that kind of is swaying in that cold breeze, almost precipitously, right over top of the fence. And you can vaguely kind of hear like them shouting from here. Like you're above and you're looking down, but you can just hear them just yelling and yelling like, we won't just wait forever. And it's echoed. We won't just wait forever. Let us in.
So Amada's going to turn to Yasha. And so I looked out the window earlier when I was making drinks, and there were more people out the front way. Might we want to call the authorities here or gather some type of security? I mean, the more and more people come, it seems like we could be overrun here, and it's just the three of us.
Well, that is an option, but the lights are having some difficulty. I haven't tried a phone yet, but it would make sense. But those things out there, they know something's happened in here. I think that's why they're so curious, we'll say.
Do you know who they are?
It's different for everyone. The way that I know them wouldn't make sense to you.
What you just said now doesn't make sense to me. Do you know them or do you not know them?
I haven't had too many interactions. I stay away. I just know they're bad news.
So what do you call them? Like,
I just call them it.
okay.
You know them from here?
This specific place, no. The general area, yeah.
So how do you get rid of it? Them?
Like I said, I see them and I turn away.
Well, that's
the only
not very-
reason that, yeah, I know it's not, but the only reason I'm still here now is because of you two. So let's try and get some help. Maybe there are people out there that can give us assistance, but for now we should probably stick together. It's the best way.
And Amada's gonna look around and she'll look for the razor and see that it was picked up and look in Elmina's hand and say, well, I suppose having something sharp on you is not a bad idea. I still think we should get more people here, but something in our hand that's sharp or whatever could be useful if we need it. I hope we don't need it.
And at that point, Elmina's still kind of like checked out. Like she's got. So when I was going through the guest rooms, none of them looked like my aunt was living in them.
No.
And this master bedroom, I don't see any of her things scattered.
No, her
about.
things are in here. Yeah.
Are they? Okay.
Mm-hmm. Like you
I'm
can
gonna
see.
start-
I mean, like I don't know when was the last time you would have seen your aunt. It would have been a while. Like you're at school, you're at academy, and this is a
Yeah.
far off place, so it's probably not a thing you visit very often. I mean, you were raised by her, so you do have a fondness for her to some degree, I would imagine, and she for you. But it's distances being what they are, you probably wouldn't be visiting her regularly. So at least a year probably since you last saw her.
So I'm just gonna start like quickly going through her things to see if maybe there was like a note that she left behind.
Yeah.
I sent you a quick message, Jeff, whenever you need, or whenever you have time.
Okay. Yeah, you start going through everything, and you're looking for specifically for notes or anything like that?
Or
Okay.
like official documents, anything of hers, really.
Yeah, you go through like she's like this is mostly a bedroom. You don't see any kind of like desk or anything in here that you can tell. Well, not that it's not hidden. You just can't see anything. It's just mostly dressers and clothes and whatnot. So there's nothing in here that you can seem to find. This doesn't seem to be the room for it if something like that would exist.
Okay, but she definitely didn't leave a note or anything behind either.
You don't see one. No.
Okay.
Yasha will ask Elmina, so was there something going on with your aunt that would cause her to do this, or is this? I mean, where is this Aranka? Who is
Actually,
Aranka?
was Aranka was just a friend of hers, like a lifelong family friend. I mean, uh, I don't know. And you heard me read the letter in the car. Like, she told me not to come, and I don't know if it's because of this or if there's something else happening.
How long ago did you receive that letter?
Um,
The one that you read, it's been a couple days.
yeah, just if I got the letter and I got a hold of you, and a couple days later we're here.
A couple weeks, I should say. Sorry, a couple weeks.
Weeks.
Sorry.
All right, well, either something was too much or I don't know. This is unexpected to say the least.
Let's check upstairs like we said we were gonna do.
Okay.
Is that upstairs using the false panel on the wall?
Yeah, you would know that just to be
Okay.
like it's a false panel, not because it's trying to be hidden, just because it's trying
Right.
to be like neat and tidy and everything like that, right? But it's there. It's an attic. It's an attic staircase that kind of goes up, very narrow staircase, so you have to be kind of a little careful as you climb up it. You also see like behind this wall, there's just like this small little recessed area that looks like it also has a service elevator as well. But you can go up the stairs. There's an elevator access as well behind the panel. Are we going up? And are you going with them, Amada?
Yes. Yeah, we'll stick together.
Okay. Yeah, you get up into the attic, and it's very roomy up here. Lots of very large attic. This would probably be big enough for a house for most people, right? But you can see that there's like it's used in some sections up here, have been kind of cordoned off, kind of creating like these different rooms. Basically, one of them definitely seems to be focusing on on storage. There's chests. You can see clothes kind of pushing out of them, sheets, things like that, souvenirs, stuff that's kind of tacked and stored in some of the rafters, some chests here and there. You can see there's a workshop of some kind, and there looks to be kind of a old-fashioned looking Holosphere crystal up here as well.
I'll probably go to the Holosphere crystal.
Okay. So it looks old-fashioned, but as you start kind of playing with it, you realize it's got all of modern accoutrements to it. So it looks like it's more about style. But what you can tell is it's like two-way Holosphere. It's got vacuum crystals, wires, knobs, an antenna, and it's got this kind of weird ozone smell that just sort of drifts into your nose. When you're looking at it, you can tell that some of the valves look a little damaged. Not sure if it's recent or if it's just always been up. I mean, it's stuck up in the attic, so it's likely that they put it up here because it broke. But it looks to be damaged, and you would probably need to replace the valves with something. And you also would know that this is more of a long range holosphere, so it's not like an intercom, like an inner house thing. Like this could like call out basically.
We should try to fix that.
Yeah. And like I'll start going through the storage stuff to see if there's any extra pieces for that.
Okay. Yeah, there's storage stuff, there's the workshop, and then there's the holosphere. So you're actually messing around with the crystal. What are the other two doing?
Okay.
I'm looking through storage to see if I can find like a bat or some kind of club-like object.
Yeah, you start going through this, and you can see that there's chests here with like uniforms, boots, enameled like an enameled cuirass, like a helmeted diving suit, and you do in fact find what you imagine is a ceremonial war club, but it'll work. It'll definitely work.
I shall take it and keep it on me.
Perfect. Amada, what are you doing?
The workshop.
Yeah, so you kind of come into this section of the attic, and this is the first time you've really seen kind of a bunch of dust kind of really accumulate in a particular area. But there's work tables, there's some displays. You can tell that this is likely the workplace of a taxidermist. So you can see that there's like
Oh.
hooks, cutters, scoops, syringes, chains, needles, pins, glue, all that kind of stuff. There's some modeling clay. You see some paints. You see a jar of glass eyes. You can see there's a bear's head that's kind of been set off to the side as a trophy, like mounted in some way. There's 3 white mice that look to be in the process of being stuffed. There's an eagle and a brace of passenger pigeons. You also notice there's a little cage where inside there appears to be an owl. That's just kind of swaying almost malnutritiously. And there's a small little port in the wall, and you can see that there's a name tag that just says Slayer.
And Amada will call out, "My goodness, there's a live animal in here. Did Elmina, did you know that your aunt kept an owl?"
You don't think your aunt kept an owl?
No.
You're fairly confident she didn't.
So Amada feels horrible for this animal, and she's gonna look around for bird food.
Yeah, you look around and you do find what looks like some sort of flakes and things, but owls would probably want something a little bit more meaty. But you
Yeah, I'm not
yeah.
gonna go mouse hunting at the moment.
Right. But it looks like you just get some like sort of dried generic kind of dribbles of food that you throw into the cage. And it will eat them, but you could definitely tell that this is a very sickly owl who likely hasn't been tended to, at least in a couple days.
Can I try to find some water and get it some liquid?
Yeah, you remember that there was a sink in the master bathroom downstairs that had some water.
Or a wet bar downstairs.
There's
or a
also
kitchen
other
that I get
bedrooms.
to-
There's also other bedrooms with adjoining bathrooms in the top floor.
Yeah, so I'll do that.
Okay. You start going down. So you go downstairs and you start going. You find a working bathroom. You notice as you go to like 1 or 2 of them, like they spit and spout, and then they don't shoot out water that well. At a certain point, one of them does begin to finally pour, but it's freezing cold. And you let it go and you let it go, and it's just constantly freezing cold. There's just no hot water working whatsoever.
Okay, I'll look, and hopefully there's one of those little sort of bathroom little glasses or
Oh yeah.
cups or something in there.
And so yeah, you fill up the water and you go back and you start feeding this pet, which is
Slayer.
Yeah. Which incidentally, I think is what Melissa's gonna go do in real life too in a second. Go feed our pet because it's she needs to eat. Yeah.
Yes.
You can go do that if you want. Since we
Okay.
just
Right.
And we'll keep going. The rest of us will keep going. Nothing horrible is gonna happen while you're gone. The owl's not gonna. Okay.
Promise?
Yeah, I promise. The owl's not gonna get you. Okay, so Elmina and Yasha, you've been kind of searching around. Yasha, you were able to find a work club. Elmina, you do not have any success finding like replacement valves for this. Like most of what you have up here seems to be trinkets and curios and old stuff and storage. Doesn't seem to be like good, solid electronic gear. Like likely you would need to go to a shop for this or something like that. Somewhere that would have these things.
Could I assist with my action of knowing where to find useful things like valves?
Absolutely. You would know that the best place and the closest place nearby, there's an hospital not far up the street that if anybody, like they have tons of holospheres. They had to do a lot of communication there. So it's more than likely you could probably find replacement parts there. There's no stores. There's no things like that in really, really close proximity. But the hospital is probably the place that has the most advanced electronic equipment that you could salvage something from.
Okay.
Yeah, I have a feeling that if we want to brave taking a trip out, that we can just get some replacement stuff over there, or just have better equipment to call someone with. Those places are usually set up pretty well since they've got the arrow pad and everything.
Yeah. I don't know if. Why don't we check the ground floor? Let's just keep. I want to see first if Arcana or Aranka is around.
Okay.
The real quick, the diving suit, is that a costume or is that functional?
It definitely looks like it was functional at one point. Doesn't look to have likely been used in quite some time. So at some point somebody certainly used it. You probably want to do a good double check of this and get it into some water and everything to ensure there's not been any kind of wear and tear over the years. But no, it's not just. It definitely looked to have been functional.
Well, I do see that there's a water feature on the property, so that's why I'm thinking of that.
Okay. So where do you guys want to head? We'll assume Amada's coming with you.
We didn't fully scan the ground floor.
Oh yeah, you haven't really fully scanned a lot. Like you've basically only done the bedroom level and the attic. There's still a lot of stuff that you could potentially search around. Okay, so if you start heading back down to the main floor, so you came in through the foyer, and you know that there was a cloakroom that was offset from the foyer. You know that there's a staircase that went upstairs, and towards the base of that and around a corner, there was that kind of wet bar area, the waiting room that Amada had made her drinks at. But that's all you've explored. There's a lot of other places. It's a mansion. A lot of places you could potentially go.
Yeah.
And you can look at the map too. It's fine. Like you can kind of see, first, second, third floor. You can kind of get a general idea about what you might find in different places.
Yeah, she'd probably head to the library.
Okay. All right. Yasha, would you stick with her or would you split up at this point?
Knowing that there's an issue with like some of the electricity here, he's just gonna go and check the generator hut.
Okay, so you're gonna go outside.
Yeah. So yeah. Yasha's gonna say to Elmina, "You keep that razor close to you in case there's something skulking about. I'll throw a window open, but I'm gonna check the generator to make sure we've got the power that we need for here."
Okay.
Is that all right?
Yeah.
Okay. Just yell if you need me.
Got it.
So the first thing you'll notice, Yasha, when you go outside, and then we'll do the generator hut in a minute, is you notice that there's even more that have begun to accumulate around the gates. You see they haven't broken through, but when you first came in, I mean, at this point, you've probably been between examining the body, calming down Elmina, and like looking around the attic and the bedrooms. You've definitely been here for a couple hours at this point, and when you come back out, you can see that there are at least 3 times as many that were here when you first came in. So they've tripled in size at least, and they're still shouting the same thing, like "Hello, let us in!" All in unison, all kind of shifting their heads in different ways. And they all have that weird, peculiar beige look to them.
And are they like just clothed in like shirt or no clothing?
So yeah, I mean, when you look over, you can see that some of them are dressed in just looks like townsfolk clothing, like standard stuff, nothing out of the ordinary. You can see some people have on like winter clothes. Some people have on what looks like farming clothes here and there. Go ahead and roll a d8.
I got a 7.
Yeah, you also notice that there's like a handful of people in uniform of some kind, but it's uniform you would recognize more like militia, like a militiaman uniform, where everything's not precise, but kind of is close enough for horseshoes and hand grenades, so to speak. Okay, inside. So you were headed to the library specifically. Is that where you said you were going, Elmina?
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, you kind of move through the ground floor a bit. There's, again, you pass by like what looks like a receiving room. There's a fireplace. You pass by a dining hall here and there. You can see off to one side there's what looks like some kind of conservatory through frosted glass. You can see some plants have been set up. But you find the library. And you can see that the library itself, as you walk in, and I'm assuming at this point everyone's got like a lighter or a lamp or something like that just to make things easier. But it is dark. You're thinking the power is failing for sure. It's like flickering here and there. But when you come in, you can see that there's kind of wood paneling all throughout. These high-backed pleather chairs. Got this beautiful carved Brazil wood table. Lots of fitted shelves here and there, custom bound books, shelves galore that you could look through, books themselves you can flip through. Looks like the table out in front, that beautiful table, has got some kind of dominoes that has been set up. Like someone was playing dominoes sometime recently, and it looks like a book kind of placed up there as well.
I would probably go to the Domino's and see the book next to it. Like maybe that's like the last thing my aunt was reading, and see what it is.
Okay, so you pick up the book and you can see, yeah, it's a book of short stories. It's turned to Starvation Artist. Is the name of the short story. Read a few lines, and does seem to be specifically about a starvation artist.
Yeah. And then she'll just kind of like leave it there and just keep looking around. Does my aunt have a desk in here?
You don't notice a desk. It's more a table, books, shelves is kind of what you're seeing.
Okay. So like a more formal thing. And Aranka isn't. If I walk around, I don't find her behind a shelf or anything.
Mm-mm. You'll find it. I mean, Amada's with you, we'll say, but that's it.
Then I'll probably leave the library. And was the day room where she made the drinks at?
Okay. The day room, no, it's more, she was at what's called, we're calling it the waiting room. It's
Okay.
kind of what it is, which is like a bar, but then there's like a den area that's got like a fireplace, it looks like. Then the library with the shelves of books and things like that. And the dining hall, conservatory right down the hall from you. There's also a kitchen, you would know, and extended off from the dining room.
Okay, yeah. So I'll probably peek into the dining hall and see if Aranka's in there.
Okay. We'll kick back outside to where Yasha is moving about. So you're heading over, you said, towards the generator area. You can see from a distance, like the door to the generator room is open and kind of flapping around in this heavy breeze, like slap and crashing. Right next to it, you also notice that there is a shed, looks like a kind of a carport depot area. There's a golem that seems to be parked there, some kind of large auto golem as well. But you eventually you turn into the generator room, and you can see that there's an orange light that is blinking away on the generator itself. This room you can tell is soundproof, and it probably isn't until like you got close when the flapping of the door that you actually could hear the sputtering of the generator. It's fairly mossy concrete, like on the outside. It's almost like a hobbit hut in a way. The door itself looks to have been like locked, some kind of combination locked, but it doesn't look like it. Whoever last was in here didn't lock it. When you inspect the generator, you can tell that it is very much running out of fuel, and you don't think it has more than a couple hours maybe left.
Could I walk over to the car depot and auto golem and see if I can siphon fuel out of that, or if there's a spare can, or I guess if there's a spare can in the room with the generator?
Yeah, you don't notice this. You notice a can, but you don't. It's not filled with anything. There doesn't seem to be any stored up fuel here. But if you head over towards like the depot, you can see it's like corrugated steel roof covers is right next to it. You can see that there's a bunch of gasoline tanks that have been stacked up. But as you go through them, you realize they're mostly empty, but you can probably get a little bit, and it might push you through the night into the morning, essentially, for fuel is probably like your quick calculation. There's a fairly simple brick shed that's right next to this. And then you can also see what looks like the, that kind of golem thing there.
Do I by chance, can I see in the golem, like through the window, or is it tinted?
Yeah, you head over there. Sorry, I think I might have told you the wrong thing, but we'll go with it. No, we're fine. Yeah. So yeah, you can see that the golem itself is bigger than the one that you all traveled in. Yours is very sleek, kind of modern. This one, however, is it's like a van. It's like a big, bulky van. You can see that there's all sorts of like ferns and palms kind of surrounded by it. It doesn't look like it's been driven particularly recently. You do notice that like the hood area is like kind of rattling as you get close, as if like it's been closed recently but not closed properly.
Okay. I don't see anybody in it or in the like
Yeah, you
storage
peek
area in
inside.
the back.
No, you peek inside. It looks empty of people. It's just, couple seats here and there. But if you kind of peek through the hood, if you kind of flip up the hood, you can notice that the auto golem heart is missing. So the very thing that would power it is missing.
And are these? I'm assuming these are heavy, not easily moved.
Yeah, they're fairly big. Consider, you can kind of think of like the equivalent of a heart is probably like it could be like a very big battery or something like that, or like an interior computer system or something.
Okay. Okay. I'll make a note of that. Was there anything noteworthy about the shed next to the depot?
Yeah, you take a look at the shed. You peek inside, and there are all sorts of stuff in here. Like, you see everything: axes, a chainsaw, hammers, lawn tools, cans of what looks like lighter fluid. That probably wouldn't work to function. You'd be worried about putting in the generator, but there is lighter fluid. You see there's stacks of tires and bricks and like a tarp covered sand, like for landscaping most likely. There's also a crate that looks like has like a hand pump, a buckets, hose, some like spare parts, probably for auto golem stuff. No golem heart in here, however. And then there's a tub, what looks like is filled with fertilizer.
Okay. Making a note of that. Yasha will just go and fill up the generator with the remaining fuel he was able to salvage.
Sure, yeah. And so that'll basically push you till the morning. Like you can do some calculations. You can get through the night with this, but you don't think it would last you more than a day at this point. Let's kick it back over to Amada. So at this point, Elmina and Yasha, they left the attic. Elmina peeked into the library. We were saying you were kind of following her inside the library. There were books and shelves and things like that. All Elmina really did is poke at like a single book that was on top of a table where it like looks like somebody was playing dominoes, and then she left. And she headed down the hall to dining room, I believe you were going. Yasha went outside to check the generator to see what was causing the flickering of the lights. So Amada, what we said you followed Elmina, but is there something you would have wanted to do? You're back on the ground floor.
Yeah, one of the things that I wanted to look for was kind of in the kitchen area.
Okay, you can split off to the kitchen, no problem. It's fairly close to the dining room anyway, so you guys are still within easy shouting distance of one another. But yeah, you step into the kitchen. Is there something you're looking for specifically, or you just kind of like looking?
I want to check the fridge and kind of see the status of the food situation.
You open the fridge, and you can see that going through the pantry, you can tell that no one's resupplied recently. Like the cupboards are fairly bare in here. But as you're kind of going through the kitchen itself, in the refrigerator, you open it up, you get a gust of cool air, as it looks like power has still been going, but it is flickering, so you don't know how long this will be. You can see there's half a cow inside here, just kind of wrapped up.
I'm sorry?
There's half a cow in here.
Not like half a cow's worth of meat, but half a cow?
Yeah, I could have changed it, but I really like how it was described in the writing as just half a cow. I don't know which half. I don't know, front half, back half, side half. But it literally says refrigerator half a cow. I am picturing half a cow. It's a very big refrigerator.
Now I am too.
Yeah. It's meat from half a cow.
Okay.
I mean that's how I'm interpreting it, but I really want it to just be a half a cow.
Yeah, just legs.
Love how that's written. I love how some of these things are written. Like the phrasing sometimes is just like interpret it however the hell you want. Like it's so funny. Half a cow. You open the door, you see the front half's like, excuse me, have you seen my pants? There's also a cooking station, and yeah, as you were going through the pantry, there really wasn't anything in there, but there's a cooking station nearby. A lot of stainless steel and enamel, like the stuff in here.
Okay. Is there a banana or apple or something?
I should point out, by the way, the refrigerator's walk-in too. It's not just like a pull open; it's a walk-in refrigerator. So it's like hanging from a hook, like Rocky style. What was your question? I'm sorry.
Looking for just a piece of fruit or something to snack on and eat.
Yeah, you don't really notice any fruit. You go through the pantry, and it's like I said, it doesn't look like there's much in here. You do find what looks like some like bottled pickled mushrooms, and a wheel of sharp cheese, and some salted anchovies that have been put in a can. Otherwise,
Canned
it's
beans.
empty shelves. How dare you? It's too soon. Never got to share it. The littlest hobo. We're talking about a game we run over on Sirenscape. We play over on Sirenscape. Go ahead.
So I want to look through the drawers to try to find. I'm just looking for something to walk around with because there's all those people that want to get in. So I'm looking for a
Kitchen knife.
butcher block or something for
Yeah, I think
rolling pin.
yeah, there's definitely as you start going over the cooking station, like there's butane. There's like a butane gas cylinder. There's a cleaver, a skewer. There's a rolling pin. There's a cast iron pan. There's a knife set. You can arm yourself up with your weapon of pleasure.
I'm gonna take the rolling pin.
Okay, take a rolling pin. Nice. Okay, over in the dining room. So you step into the dining hall is probably a better way to describe it than a dining room because it is fairly large. You can see that there's this burnished steel dining room table. It's surrounded by these 12 high back steel chairs. There's this long ebony sideboard. As you're looking at the surface of the table itself, there appears to be a one delicate china setting and a half-eaten meal, and there's a note next to it.
I'm gonna go grab the note.
Sure. It's kind of scribbled in really sloppy handwriting, but you can read it. It says, "I'll be back by lunchtime with the milk and eggs. Don't worry, stay in the house. Everything will be all right." And it's signed A.
Okay, so I know she's not here anymore.
Well, signed A. Who do you think that is?
Oh,
Aranka?
Aranka?
Yeah, I'm not sure if Aunt Vera signs her things A. Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, just we know not to bother looking for Aranka. For help.
Yeah, that's what I meant. Like,
Okay.
I know that she's probably not here.
Okay.
But it's weird that she mentioned everything will be okay, don't worry.
Mhm.
So
Everything seems
that-
fine, too.
Yeah, that makes me worry about the people who are outside. Check your Discord, Jeff.
No. Stop telling me what to do.
So would you say that I've obviously lived here before when I was younger, yes or no?
No, I don't think this is not the home you grew up in.
Okay, so it's not the home I grew up in.
Mm-mm.
Okay. So this isn't Aunt Vera. Was this Aranka's home or is this Aunt
Yeah,
Vera's
you
home?
think this is Aranka's home, and it was Aunt Vera was staying with Aranka. If you're
Okay.
just if you're gonna define Aranka as just a good friend, that makes sense. Could be could be a paramour, something like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, this is not the home you grew up in. You're not familiar with this town. You're not familiar with this house. That's why you hired a guide, because you don't know anything
Okay.
about this place.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, I'm gonna continue on into the conservatory.
Okay. Outside, Yasha, as you're standing out here, kind of collecting what you can and funneling the gas, you funnel gas fuel back into the generator. You step out. You hear like the screeching of people as they're like, "Let us in! Let us in!" And you look at like the western side of the fence, and you can see this massive tree bough is like and the wind is just looking like it's going to crash down pretty quickly. You can see it's kind of flimsily connected to the tree itself, and you can see like right underneath it, there's the fence.
Okay, so the tree branch is hanging low. Is it within grasp?
No, and it's quite large too. You know, if it's strong enough to like cut through like a metal fence, it's a fairly big bough. You know, so like I would say your instincts would probably be somewhat concerned about it.
Yeah. Did I happen to notice any rope in the shed or anything? I was just
Yeah, there's plenty of tools and stuff in the shed. Yeah.
okay. I'm gonna grab a bunch of rope and try and make my way to the tree.
Okay. You head over to the tree, no problem. You grab the classic 50 feet of rope, and you
Hemp or silk?
it's silk rope. It's definitely silk rope. So you get that, you kind of like put it over your shoulder, and you move over to the tree itself. You can tell this is like an ancient linden carved with cherubim dominates the rear of the garden, and you know that if a storm were to come through, as is being prognosticated, or as was prognosticated on the small bit that you got when you were up in the master bedroom, these bows could easily break and smash down into the fence.
Okay. What I want to do is I want to try and climb the tree and use the rope to kind of give it like extra support. So like tie it to like the end of the bough, and then secure it to like the trunk and see if that makes it any more stable or less precarious.
Sounds good. As you're over here climbing up this tree, you can see that the fairly large, maybe 15 to 20 group that's over by the back gate starts to wander over towards you, and you can hear them just shrieking, "Why won't you invite us in? Why won't you invite us in?"
This is not my home to invite you into. Do they respond to that?
Doesn't seem to be. Like, not in a conversational sense of the word. But now they're lingering underneath you as you climb this tree, which I believe is going to require a dex. I'll give you a choice, dex or strength. It's up to you.
I'll do dex for sure.
Yeah, okay.
It doesn't matter. Critical fail. 20.
Oh.
You climb up. And as you kind of reach up and get onto the bough itself, just your presence up here as you're like wrapping the rope around the bough and then around the trunk, you're just extra presence. A stiff gust of wind comes and you reach out instinctively just sort of to balance yourself. The bough snaps, falls, and you with it right onto the opposite side of the fence. So first you're going to take... I gave you a d4 worth of damage. I rolled a 1. So you take 1 point of damage. Remember, with Into the Odd, drop it from your HP first. If it takes you down to 0, you get a scar. If it takes you below 0, you take it off your strength. So you fall down, and the bough crashes through the fence. Elmina and Amada, both of you roll will checks.
Failed 17 over 12.
1.
Elmina, you hear the crash of something outside, unspecific what it might be.
Mm-hmm. Hearing that, I'll probably at least go to a window to see if I can see what happened. Like, I'm gonna worry that they got in through the gate.
Okay. You go over to the window. You look out the western side. And you can see that the large tree that was on the western side of the gate, a big branch has just collapsed and has ripped down part of the fence. And you can see that there are a handful of those beige people beginning to funnel onto the grounds now that there's like a rip in the fence. You also see another group of them that are huddled around something else. Yasha. You don't see Yasha, Elmina, I should say. They come rushing over towards you as you're kind of tangled up in the branch, you're tangled up in your rope, and you're still coming up. And one of them you see they reach their hand down and they just grab you by like the shoulder, like just like grip, and you can feel like their hand just kind of dip down tight into your shoulder. Roll a d8.
Does their hand feel cold by any chance?
You have clothes on, so I don't think you would feel that.
Okay, I got a 4.
Okay. You feel, however, like almost some kind of like little tiny pinch where they grab you, and you feel kind of a surge of some kind of energy through your shoulder, and then your entire body is utterly overwhelmed with panic. Roll a d6.
Okay. I got a 5.
All right. Okay. And as the panic, like your panic just utterly, it's like taking over top of you. You feel a cold sweat begin to kick up. You feel your heart begin to beat. It is the most intense panic attack you have ever felt in your life, and you're tangled up in this debris, this rope, and this creature. It's got its hands, and you can see there's others that are beginning to kind of lumber towards you. What do you want to do?
Well, now that I know that they're openly hostile, I will try and hit the one grabbing me with the war club.
Absolutely. Yeah, roll your strength. I think war club makes sense to be strength. Yeah, it's a melee weapon.
Whoops. Yeah, sorry, I pressed the wrong thing.
Oh no,
Hey,
I'm sorry.
my-
We're playing into the odd. You don't have. You were right. You just roll damage.
Oh, okay.
That's
Yeah,
one
I
of the
did
reasons why we like
D6.
into the odd.
D6 is for a medium melee weapon, right?
Yeah, that sounds good to me. Okay.
So then that would be a 3.
So you just start wailing away, and you manage to smash down on the arm and knock it off of you, and you can feel like that little pinch just sort of evaporate. The panic, however, remains. They stumble back, and you can see they have this like absolutely hurt and offended look on their face as they step away. And you can see the others that are slowly moving up. They all kind of take on the same kind of visage, like you have just horrifically insulted them. Elmina, you were the one who saw this inside. What do you do?
If I see them like heading towards the house, I'm gonna start yelling for Amada to help me start making sure exterior doors and windows and stuff are locked so they can't get in.
Okay.
And then I'm gonna say I like run to like the front door to get that, and that's when I remember that Yasha went outside and now the fence is broken, and I'm gonna start yelling for Amada to come up front, and
Okay.
I'm gonna let her know.
Yeah, what?
So Yasha went outside to check on the generator. In a tree fell and broke the fence, and now those weird people are in.
We should secure ourselves inside.
But what about Yasha? Like, if anything happens to him, how are we gonna get out of here? I don't remember how we got here. I didn't drive.
Oh no, I wasn't really paying attention either. And she just sort of has like a rolling pin in her hand, and she's like, "Well, let's go get him."
So, Yasha, you would have also had a movement. So, if there's something, where would you have run somewhere? But you can see that they are beginning to close in on you in a not too slow fashion. You also notice that the break in the gate, some of them are beginning, or breaking the fence, I should say, where the tree crumbled. You can see that they're starting to pour into the grounds themselves of the mansion.
Yeah, I definitely want to. Where is our our auto golem parked under the patio? Or?
Yeah, it's right. Yeah, that probably makes sense. You would probably park it right underneath the.
I'm gonna make my way to that, and just right now Yasha's thinking to himself like, okay, like running them over with a vehicle would be nice.
Okay, you so do you run through the hole in the fence that you just created that they're also kind of pouring through, or do you try to run a different direction?
If there's nobody around the gate right here on letter J, I can go for that because I'm assuming I'm within proximity.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean
So
they
I'll
started like that group started to move the minute one of them noticed you go up the tree. They all just started to slowly flock over towards you and call out to you. So you want to run in that direction, okay? All right. Why don't you roll a dex save as they kind of as you're trying to run around. Okay.
I failed 19.
They
It's my best skill.
they see you and they begin to they just all begin to shift and turn kind of in parallel, right? Like almost like in unison. And as you start to pick up speed, there was a kind of a patient move becomes a quickened pace and they're just like parallel chasing you and almost blocking you from getting to the gate.
Okay.
Amada and Elmina, what are you doing? You're at the foyer entrance as you haven't fully explored the house. So you don't know whether or not any of the windows or other doors or anything like that. You don't know. And it does take time to explore. Like I was saying, like every time you explore different places, give it like 10 minutes or so. And you haven't fully explored. So you don't necessarily know if there are other ways in. But you are at the foyer, which is the way you came in. You are aware, like you said, Elmina, that Yasha was going out here and that they are now kind of coming into the grounds. What do you two want to do?
I think we're gonna beeline over there. Amada did not have the thought about the car, so.
Okay, so you're just gonna run. You're gonna run towards where the tree fell, and where you can see a handful of them are coming inside. Okay.
And I would say, yeah, like as soon as we get outside, like at least Amada would be yelling, like Yasha, and just try to see if where he is or is not the same place as where all of these things are.
Okay. You run out, and you can see that there's about 20 of them that you can kind of count that are either through that gap now in the fence or just beyond it. But you can see that a portion of that group starts to split off and is chasing after something that you would probably presume is Yasha at that point. But you can't see Yasha as he is on the other side of the gate or other side of the fence off to the kind of the northwest. You can't really see. It's kind of dark out here. You can't see him, but you could probably intuit or, infer that that's where he is. So that's that. I'll say that's movement for Amada. And like, if there's an action that you want to take, you could, if you wanted to, get within proximity of a couple of them, or if there's something else you're thinking, Amada, you can do that, and then we'll go to Elmina.
No, just running as far as she can towards that, and then hitting anything if it's in range with her rolling pin.
Well, you tell me. Like, if you want to get within range of one to hit him with a rolling pin, I think you certainly could. If you don't want to, that's fine too.
Yes, I would.
Okay, so you run up to one of these that's coming through, and their hands are reaching out, and you notice as they reach out, there's like this kind of almost like a tattoo on their hand, but then you notice it's sort of moving, like a rosette that's slowly starting to move, like something on their palm. And roll your damage for your rolling pin.
I rolled a 6.
You walk up and whoosh, right across the side of the head of one of these, and you just kind of cave in what looks like the occipital area of the head, and they collapse to the ground. And you hear like wails and cries like from some of the others in the area. Yeah. What would you like to do?
I'm assuming that's everything because I.
Oh yeah, Elmina would be next. Yeah, sorry. Thank you.
Is there like a shovel or anything outside on our way when I follow her?
You don't see any. You do see a shed off in the distance. You could run over to the shed and get something, but that would be like a whole turn effectively.
Yeah. I probably will run to the shed.
Okay, so you run over to the shed and you find, and so in the shed you find a tool. There's like a scythe. There's looks like a chainsaw, but that would take gas of some kind. There's other things in here, so pick a gardening tool of some kind of your preference, and you can say you have that.
Well, because I'd like to grab one for me and then one for Amada.
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay, cool.
You don't think I can keep rolling 6s with my rolling?
I mean,
pin?
she's.
I think you can, but I like some extra would be nice. Yeah, no, I'll get a scythe for sure.
Okay. One of these is gonna kind of lumber over towards Amada at this point. Amada, roll a dex save. As they kind of another one kind of fills in and they reach out towards you to try to. Yeah, you look like they're just trying to reach out and grab you. But as you recoil from your swing, You manage to kind of duck under it and tumble away, and kind of put a hedge between you and the and this figure. Yasha, you can see that they're starting to close in on you. A couple of them now, as they're blocking your entry to the back gate. Go ahead and roll a dex save as they try to lunge out at you with these hands extended.
I dig deep into my panic and use it to run faster. I finally did it.
Okay.
8.
All right. And you manage to dodge out of the way as a couple of them lunge. What would you like to do, Yasha?
If they're blocking the gate now, I really don't have a choice. I'll have to turn and yeah, I'll just turn and try and actually no.
You are
I'm-
the three of you are vastly outnumbered, by the way. Just so if that's not clear, there's like a good,
Yeah.
In total around 24 that are scattered around the grounds and the outer fences that have accrued over the course of the last few hours. So like you are significantly outnumbered.
Yeah, I'm gonna just try and make my way through the hole in the fence.
Okay, so you're gonna try to run back there. Okay.
Yeah, kind of do like one of those shuttle sprints where I stop and then change direction.
Yeah. You see a couple of them like tumble and fall down, and they bump into each other, and others like manage to keep it. But yeah, we'll say that you just turn around and you start running. No problem. Okay, so you're running for the hole in the fence, and that's Amada when you actually do in fact now see Yasha like right there where the bow has landed and split the fence open. Like you can see him climbing on top of the bow as if to jump into the grounds. You have one right in front of you though, Amada, and there is like a hedge between you and it. What would you like to do? And last you saw Elmina like ran the hell away, and you're not sure where she went.
Okay. So I'm just gonna try to yell to Yasha, like, what the hell did you do? Get back over here. And so she's gonna swing the rolling pin at the other one in front of her.
Okay, so you step up and you try to take this other one out. Okay,
Yep.
roll your damage.
2.
Okay, this one not as good of a hit. As you kind of
Yeah.
you grab them, it didn't have the same effect. You could see they stumble, and you just hear like this cry erupt from like. Why? Elmina, you're inside the shed. What would you like to do?
So I grabbed the things that I wanted, and now I'm gonna run back to where I left Amada.
Yeah, you run outside. You see Amada had just finished swinging and kind of clocking somebody right in like the shoulder, and they lean down and they're kind of crying a bit. You can make out little bits of like why, something like that. But they're there. Off to your left, you can see Yasha is standing on top of the bow, right in the middle of the gap. Between where he stands and where you are, there's like 2 of them in total. One of them, Amada, is attacking, and then there's another one as well.
Would I be able to hit the one Amada
Yeah.
hit?
Yeah, you can run up, kind of get right behind this one as it's leaning down.
What would you say a scythe is?
Let's call it D6.
Oh, 1.
And it's a big unwieldy thing. You're not used to this, like you're a fancy lad, a fancy lass, I should say. And you swing down with it, but it's kind of awkward. You manage to clip it, but
I get
cut
like
it,
its
yeah.
toe.
Oh God, this poor thing. As you kind of like swipe down it, you hear just like this inhuman, like deafening scream, like. I want both of you to roll will right now.
Okay. 18 fail.
2 succeed.
So you slice through this thing, and then this horrible, like inhuman scream erupts. Elmina, go ahead and take a point of will damage. So reduce your will by 1. Okay.
I'm sorry. Why are you here?
So it's their turns. It's 50-50 this. Okay. So Amada, roll a dex save as this one lunges back out at you. You managed
Succeed.
again. You just
Succeed.
keep dancing around this hedge, keeping it between you and it. It's not like good, it's not like a blocking hits or anything, but it's just kind of keeping you at a distance. It seemed to focus on you instead of Elmina. The other one that's between Yasha and Elmina, I'm gonna roll again. It will turn and kind of hustle towards what Elmina is, arms kind of extended. You see that weird kind of rosette moving around in its palms, Elmina, as it lunges out at you. Roll a dex save.
Crit fail.
That's no good at all. Roll a d8.
Okay. 3.
Okay. You feel this hand just grip down on like the forearm as you had swiped down with your scythe, and it was, you kind of got the tip of it stuck in the ground a little bit as you're trying to get it out. This other one charges in, grabs you on the forearm, and you feel almost like you took some kind of, kind of like a syringe, a needle just kind of kicks in, and kind of feel a little bit sort of something about you just begins to sort of feel awkward. Can't quite place it just yet as they rip the hand, free a moment later. And then I think there's the others that were chasing after Yasha. So yeah, the ones that were kind of chasing and doing like this scuttle run. Yasha, go ahead and roll a dex save. See if any of them manage to get you before you hop down off of this bough.
Yes, they do. 17 over 13. I fail.
Okay. So. Oh boy. All right. So one more roll. Okay. You can see one of them grabs onto your foot and is kind of grappling you. You don't yet feel like the pinprick from before, but like you're kind of, they're grabbing onto your ankle as you're trying to hop down. You're going to need to separate yourself from them first. We'll go back around to the three of you. You can go in any order you want, technically. So if there's something specific you want to do, Amada, you're caught between one there's one on the other side of a hedge from you that's taken a couple hits. Elmina, there's one that just grabbed on and did something to your forearm. Yasha, you're on top of this broken bough between the fence. Your ankle is gripped by one as the whole group of them are slowly encroaching upon you as well, getting their footing back. What do you want to do?
So Jeff, I have a question.
Yeah.
Given where Elmina and Amada are in comparison to where Yasha is,
Yeah.
would you say that everyone is in earshot of Amada?
Yes. And it's fair.
Okay. I'm gonna do a thing.
All right. Describe what you do.
Okay. So Amada just throws her head back and just lets out this just absolutely blood curdling scream. And that is my single use scream of the butterfly.
Okay.
Okay.
So everyone around you is shocked and stops what they're doing, and then you get a free unopposed action. So by everyone, that also means Elmina and Yasha, who I think, especially Elmina, you're right next to her. You're just a couple feet away, and this blood-curdling scream begins to overtake you, and everybody just suddenly stops for a moment, and they reach up. Even these strange beige creatures, these people that are just beige, and they're grabbing their ears. And that means, Yasha, your foot is now loose, but you too are grabbing your ears. It's just this awful, awful scream. Amada, what do you want your unopposed action to be? What do you want to do?
So my free unopposed action is that I want to go over to Elmina.
Okay.
And basically separate her from the thing that's attacking her.
Okay.
Because now my new thought is that I want to get her back inside.
Okay.
Now that she's sort of been attacked, so I'm separating her.
So we say you drag her. Yeah, just drag her away. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
So you drag her up the gravel path towards the foyer.
Yep.
Not fully in the house yet, but you're right by the door, we'll say. And the other two are wailing about. Okay. Elmina and Yasha. What what do you two want to do? As a whole round basically passes, essentially everyone is kind of stunned with the exception of Amada. Amina, you kind of get your wits about you, and you see that your forearms kind of welted in blood. You've managed to somehow keep the scythe in one of your hands, and you're on top of the foyer. You're right outside the foyer, and you've got Amada trying to dragging you up. You kind of see in the distance Yasha. You can barely kind of get a glimpse of him as he's trying to jump off the bow here and kind of get back onto the grounds. What do you guys want to do?
Oh God. Go ahead, Yasha.
I was gonna say I'm just gonna, if my foot's free and I'm not like writhing in ear pain, I'm gonna make a sprint for the auto golem.
Yours or
Yes,
Okay.
yeah, the one we brought.
yeah, I think that's fine. You run towards the auto golem 100%. We'll say you can run there, action to open the door and dive inside. It's fine. Then Elmina, what do you want to do?
If he's inside something, then I'm gonna continue following Amada inside to the house.
Okay. All right.
So I don't want to get touched by those weird things again.
Okay. So, are you two like closing the door, or are you leaving it open? I'm waiting for Yasha.
Is there like a window right next to the door?
There's the window in like that drinking room right around the corner. Yeah, you can peek out and see it.
Okay, yeah, because I'd probably suggest that we shut the door until he comes up and then
Yeah,
Okay.
put him
agreed.
in.
We're looking for something heavy to get ready to go.
There were you know that there were like different statues and things in here. So between the two of you, you can probably, if you wanted to brace the door, you probably could.
We'll get ready to brace the door, so like as soon as we let him in, we can keep it closed.
Okay. Okay, so Yasha, inside the golem, you notice as you flop down inside of your auto golem, and you suddenly hear the banging of fists on the glass of the windows of this, and you hear, "Let us in. Why do you delay?" And all of it's kind of echoed as there's more than one. As you see, there's now two that are kind of clamoring over top. One of them has literally climbed on top of the back of the golem. The other one is just trying to smash through the glass. More are now starting to funnel into the grounds from the hole in the fence, and all of them seem to be making a beeline directly for the golem. We'll go to the top of the round. All three of you can go.
So, are these things able to be driven by hand, or is it all autonomous?
Yeah, let's say you can drive it. It's fine.
Okay.
I'll say if you're trying to do anything that's not like super easy, then we'll do a roll. But if it's just driving, that's easy enough to do.
Okay. I want to then. So the golem is facing toward this gate right here. B.
Yeah, so we'll say like because it's kind of a super round drop off, we'll probably say you kind of pulled in from the left, kind of turned around to the right, and you're probably right underneath the porch area, and so it's probably facing eastward. And we'll say that the gate is southward.
Okay. Yeah, I'll just start the auto golem up, and first thing I'll do is, since I'm facing straight ahead, I'll just like slam on the accelerator till I get to the edge of the like cobble or gravel, and then put it in reverse. And so like I'll hit them in front of me and then put it in reverse and hit the ones behind me, and then try and lure the ones I don't hit with the vehicle toward the gate. So I'll drive toward the gate and see if they pursue.
Okay, so with the two that were on you, like you managed to gun it, and that leaves the one that was trying to smash into the glass, like in the dust. Then you slam on the brakes, and you can see that the one that was on the hood goes flying off of it and lands in front of you. At this point, you've got one on the ground in front of you. You got one that's standing behind you, and then even further behind them, you can see the other, 15, 16 or so that are pouring through the hole in the gate. What was the other thing that you were looking to do beyond just that brief description?
Yeah, so after driving forward, then I would like put it in reverse and try and like back into the mob of them, or at least get them to pursue me.
Okay,
if they're not close enough to strike.
I think in terms of like one action, we can probably get in the reverse and run over the one that was banging into the glass, which easily flattens that one. And you hear just like this echo of screams at that. And then you can see the one in front of you is slowly starting to get back up after you flew it down onto the ground. And we'll say that's probably enough you can do in this one action. Amada and Elmina, you're both looking out the window and you see all this happen. It's not the easiest view for you, but you can kind of see that all the golems moving back and forth. There's bodies flying. What do you want to do?
Amada wants to run out and make sure that one doesn't make it in the house.
Okay, the one that's getting up, you're gonna run back outside. Okay.
Yeah. So kind of to kind of close the door.
Okay.
Like,
So I'll brace at the door.
So you run outside, and with your rolling pin in hand, roll the rolling pin damage.
5.
Okay, you run outside and describe how you kill this thing as you smash your rolling pin down upon it.
I'm gonna say like it was on the ground, but it was sort of starting to get up from the ground. But it kind of was still prone, and so this is actually going to be like handle of the rolling pin. That's just gonna kind of like impale it.
Oh God. Okay. And again, you hear that kind of echo of the screams across the yard at that point. But as it does in fact fall, Elmina, what did you want to do? I noticed you're bracing the door. There doesn't seem to be any. There's none of these that look to be within close enough proximity that they could run into the house past you at the foyer.
Okay. I want to make sure then that the foyer windows and stuff are all locked at least.
Okay. Yeah, you just go through and make sure everything. Yeah, that you can do. No problem. Okay. Amada, you're outside. Yasha, you're looking out like a window, and you can see the objects in the mirror closer than they appear, or something like that. You see the swarm. Both of you see this swarm of these creatures swarm the golem. Some of them climb on top of the hood. Others you could see are throwing themselves underneath the bottom of the car itself and kind of wrapping themselves around the wheels. Others are smashing against the glass to the point where it does in fact break. And by the time this whole swarm of about 15 or 16 of them are done, there's like 16 of these things that are all draped over top of your beautiful teal DeLorean golem. Yasha, you're inside. You can see arms are reaching out at you, trying to get you through like a windshield or the side door. They're not yet able to. But you have a bunch of them, and you can feel the sluggishness of the golem, which is you're driving a sports car basically, and so it doesn't have like the tankish feel. Like you don't feel entirely safe inside of it, as there's a bunch of them that have just wrapped around this car. And we'll come back to you all again.
So I think what I want to do, so the DeLorean's like right here.
Yeah, we'll say it's like you jammed it back. You jammed it back in reverse, and so it went westward. And I think where you pinged on our map is fine. So basically, You're no longer underneath the overhang of the entranceway. You've backed underneath and out of it, just for if anyone's just listening and not watching. Like, we don't have the map up for you guys. Sorry. Yeah.
So how tall is this wall that overlooks this like cliff thing?
Ping what you're looking at?
Yeah, right there.
Okay. I think that's not like a wall as much as it is a retaining wall. So like, it's not like it's like you couldn't slam into it, is what I'm saying. It's like,
oh, good.
So that's like, think of like a hill, and it comes to sort of a brick wall on the vertical side, but it's not like protruding up out of the ground. It's more
that's
tiers.
Perfect then.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm going to line the car up and just have like get something in the vehicle and wedge the accelerator down, and I'm just going to try and drive this thing off of this like sloped cliff, and I'm going to try and dive out like, right here in the last minute.
Wow.
Okay. I think you don't need to
You can just
wedge
tell it to
stuff.
keep driving.
Well, no, I don't think you can wedge stuff and do all that at once, but I do think you can gun it and just jump out at the same time, right? Because the momentum would take it. You don't necessarily need to have it accelerate any further.
Yeah.
This I do think is a fairly dangerous thing to do, and I think this is going to require a strength test because you're trying to not so much like doing the driving thing. That's easy enough. It's definitely sluggish. You can feel the wheels thump as it hops over top of these bodies. That Amada, you also saw. They voluntarily dove down underneath this car and tried to wedge themselves. Some of them are grabbing onto the tires and everything. But go ahead and roll a strength test. This isn't so much to succeed at hitting the gas. This is to succeed at pushing the door open past the coat of people and getting out of the car.
Oh dear, I rolled a 19. I put my seatbelt on.
So many 19s.
I
Can
fucking
he
hate
re-roll?
my rolls, man.
Your rolls are bad.
God.
You remember your old Bastionland character who had like the worst stats ever, but
yeah.
was just moving through that meat and cheese consortium like a boss.
Yep. Good old Douglas.
Good old Douglas.
Could we give him a reroll?
No,
We
it's
did
fine.
get
I'll take it.
bits.
Did we get bits? Yeah, we did get
We
bits
got a
in the
ton of bits,
beginning. Yeah, we can do. What do we want to do? Like a reroll per 100, something like that.
I'll go
That'd
back
be
through
cool.
and see how many we have.
We've
We
got-
definitely have at least one.
Not bits from the two of you, though.
I know.
Okay.
I know.
It's only
I
from,
wasn't going to
or
include
the
that.
three of you. Even so, yeah.
We've got 3.
Okay, so you got 3 rerolls. Do you want to use a reroll for that strength test?
Yeah, sure. Let's go for a 20.
Okay.
Oh, with the seatbelt will fail.
No.
You're dead if you get a 20.
Damn it.
If you
It's
roll
a
a nat
14.
20, you are dead. Okay.
I do put my seatbelt on.
You
knowing
gun
I'm
it.
Not gonna be able to.
You put the seatbelt on. You go ahead and Elmina, you watch as he just guns it, thumps. Amada, you kind of have to stumble out of the way as he comes flying underneath the kind of the stilted legs of the kind of the underbark of the driveway area, passes right through it, thump, and then finally picks up some speed, goes right to what looks like the retaining hill. Like there's the hill and the retaining wall, and is flying over. Yasha, you go to burst the door open and you just can't get it open. At the last second, you throw your seatbelt on. You go flying off of a not incredibly high, like a high cliff. We're talking like a good 15 feet maybe. And this thing goes smashing down, crashes, tumbles through a different side of the fence, creating yet another opening on the eastern side now. I want you to roll, we'll say roll, you put your seatbelt on, huh? Let's do.
And I imagine this has like an auto or like an Alexa type thing of the vehicle. So I say like, play my favorite tunes,
Oh.
load up the airbags.
Okay. Roll. I'll say this. Roll 2d6 for damage. I was gonna do 3, but because you put your seatbelt on, that'll help. No, we'll kick off one of the d6s. So 2d6 for damage.
Wow.
You are the
I
luckiest.
rolled 2 ones. I got really nice seatbelts and airbags.
Okay. You go flying down. This thing crashes. You tumble, and smashes. And yeah, like the Born to Be Wild Debbie starts going around in the back, and you can kind of hear it still kind of working as the radio just dies out as this poor golem just collapses and falls apart. You hear the screams of, what did I say? Like 16 of them.
Yeah.
All right.
15,
Let's see how many of them are just
Kills-
completely killed. 15 of the 16. I rolled a d20. I rolled a 15 on a
Wow.
d20. 15.
Kill streak unlocked.
You might not be. Yeah, I think that reroll has reset Yasha, as there are now either they're trapped and pinned or they're just outright dead, and one of them probably managed to fall off and it's up on the top level by Amada at this point. Amada, you saw this happen. You did not see Yasha dive out of the car. What do you do, Amada? There's one of them that's still lingering off over by the little kind of hillside cliff where he just flew the car off of.
I would like
Dear
to
God, Derek.
go back inside and protect my friend and see if there's a way out of the house on that side.
Okay.
Like if there's like an exit over there, kind of seeing that.
So
there's a
you know-
change in the elevation
Okay,
on
so
the
you
side.
would know just from looking at the house that you would need to go down into the basement area, because like this house is sort of built on a cliff, and so like there's like the main floor, and then it goes to a second floor and an attic, but it also kind of descends down because it's built on the side of a hill, and he just flew off that hill. So if there's an exit down there, it has to probably be down in the basement area, and you don't know if there is. But you run
Yeah,
inside.
I don't want to go running outside, so I'm gonna go inside.
Okay, run
Tell
inside.
Elmina. So
We brace the front door.
brace the front door and see if he's still alive. And make
Did I see that happen? Because I was
You,
closing windows.
I think you easily could have seen it too. Both of you just saw him drive the car off of a ledge and smash on. It's at least a 15-foot drop that he just took, and he's
So how the hell are we gonna get out of here now? If
Oh my
that
god,
was
he's
the
dead.
car
He's
that we
dead.
had?
He's dead. Oh my god, I didn't even think about the car. And like, Elmina's like, we need to lock up this place. We need shelter. Uh, is it better to be in the basement or the attic? Like, what do you do? Oh my god,
I mean,
our guide is dead. Our guide is dead.
I hope maybe he's not dead. So why don't we go down to the basement and see if we
He
can get out there?
drove off a cliff, Amada.
He's in
I'm on the highway to hell.
It's kind of a sturdy car. We should at least go see
It's
what's
a
going on over
sports
there.
car. That's how people die. I didn't realize I should have.
It's
rented
definitely
a
not a
tank.
sturdy car. It is not. You drove a Miata. Like it's
That's
like
what I
a
pictured.
fiberglass thing. It's just crumpled to bits. He's alive somehow. You don't know that. Oh
Yeah.
goodness.
Amada still wants to go down in the basement and kind of get a view of what's going on at that.
Okay.
distance.
Elmina, do you go with her?
Yeah, I'll follow.
Alright,
Because
the two
at
of
that
you-
point, I'm just
yeah.
like, he's dead.
Sure. All right. So you two start running down to the basement, trying to look around. No problem. Yasha, you start climbing out of the vehicle, which is completely and utterly totaled, by the way, and you do not imagine this thing is going to be ever drivable until it gets some massive, just like utterly massive repairs. You climb out, and you can see that there's bodies that have wedged underneath the car still. Arms are kind of flailing out at you, but you're no test required here. You're able to kind of stumble out of the way. You're bleeding. You got a cut down your face from your head slammed against the dash. You're stumbling around. You don't see any of them that aren't pinned, but then you look up and you can see like a shadow kind of being cast by what looks like a flickering floodlight on the side of the house, as there's one that's still that managed to not fall down, but it looks like it's getting ready to just crumble down the side of this hill towards you. Looking around, you can see that you are on the lower level of the grounds. Straight ahead, like you can see that there's like a little river pond area, but there also looks to be the side, like the eastern side of like the downstairs annex of some kind. You're not sure what's in there, but you do see it in fact there. You don't see doors, however, on that side.
Okay.
And you're effectively like through the gate because you just rammed the car through the fence down here. So there's now two holes in the fence that you know of. One is on the eastern side that you just made, and the other that you also made on the western side. Just putting holes in fences. Good fences.
Or
make good neighbors.
craftsmanship, honestly. They should have better fences.
Clearly. So what would you like to do? You don't seem to be in immediate danger, but the one that's up has seen you, and you can hear it screaming that horrible cry again.
Yeah. So is the heart of my golem salvageable?
Oh God. I mean, I don't think so.
It's okay. I mean,
No, it's
Yasha
not.
has.
I just rolled a die. No, you
That's
don't
fine.
think so. No.
Yasha's not concerned. You guys don't know this, but he's thinking, okay, there's 3 cars parked outside the hospital. So he's just like, we'll just get a new car. I'll hotwire it. Or
Yeah, you would imagine
hard
there's vehicles at the hospital. Like there's emergency vehicles and stuff.
Yeah. So I guess what I'll do is just wander back into the grounds and see if the one's screaming on top of the hill. Like I'll just hold my club and say, I let them in.
Okay. And you just see this like contorted face of pain, maybe anger, as it looks down. And then you hear the rattling of the fence as you look off to your left as you're climbing up this hill towards it. And you can see there's 3 or 4 more of them that have now started to come up towards the top of the hill, towards where the gate's still intact. And they're kind of rattling it as they're trying to reach in to get to you. They have like these, again, horrible pained, angered looks on their faces. Amada and Elmina, you are wandering about the basement looking for some way out. Is that how I understood it? Is that correct?
Yeah, looking for some sort of a door that would be down at that level that we could let Yasha and only Yasha in through.
Okay.
Or at least a window to see how he's doing or something.
Yeah, you do. Yeah, you do notice that there appears to be a Yeah, as you're moving around down here, like you're going fast, so you're not getting like good views of everything. You're just looking for doors, doors, doors. But you see at least there's a game room, wine cellar, some kind of strange lab. Then there's like this heavy blast door that looks to be partially open. But you do notice that there's like the elevator that you saw upstairs. There's an entrance to it by the wine cellar. And it looks like there's a kind of ornate set of kind of glass doors that lead out to the backyard area from the game room.
So Amada will go over towards that.
Okay. And they appear to be locked as you go to them. You realize they are locked. What about you, Elmina?
I want to check out the science lab, or what those blast doors.
Well, are you breaking out of like initiative kind of, or are you gonna go explore, or are you gonna?
Yeah, she's breaking out of initiative.
Okay, that's gonna take a little bit longer. So we'll say you move off to the science lab. Amada's still kind of trying to go help Yasha. Yasha, what do you do?
My head is killing me, and so I want to go next. So I'm again right around here, right where I pinged.
Yeah, I would say you're probably halfway up the side of the hill. If you want to be, if you want to kind of climb the hill, or you can just be at the base of the hill in the backyard of the.
Yeah, if this is climbable, then yeah, I'll climb it.
It is. It's not the easiest climb in the world. Like it'll probably take you like a full round of actions just to kind of get up there, and you do still see that there's a figure up there that's ready to come down towards you.
Yeah.
So it's up to you. Do you want to go climb up?
Yeah, I guess just not really knowing the bottom side of the house, he will just go up to the front door. So he'll make his way up and just get ready to swing at the dweeb on top of the hill.
All right, go ahead and roll. Go ahead and roll a dex to try to kind of dive out of the way of this one at the top of the hill as you climb all the way up.
Hey, I succeeded. 3 under 13.
And so it sweeps out at you with what looks like a planter brick it might have picked up at some point, and it just like swings it at you as you duck underneath it, kind of tumble, roll, almost instinct kicking in at this point, and you get past it, scraping maybe your hand in the gravel and the grass here or there. Amada, you're by the back door, game room. Elmina went off somewhere. She was freaking out, going crazy, but then she saw a science lab and she's like, "Oh, science lab!" And she just ran off to the side. What do you do, Amada?
So can I see Yasha? I guess that's my question. Like,
no, not from your angle. Yeah, like if you're looking at the map, like there's that whole kind of like so for those of you who are listening, and I mean, there is a map that comes with it. You should get this, by the way. This adventure is just awesome. Like the map is amazing. The writing's so cool, and like there's all sorts of different adventures you can kind of play with. But think of like kind of two long rectangles that are like one sitting on top of the other, but crisscrossing. The basement kind of running east to west, and the like the top level running like north to south. That whole basement rectangle is between you and where you would be able to see Yasha. You can't see him from where you're standing.
I will unlock, because I'm assuming these doors are locked from the inside, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm not running over here.
I'm saying that's where the door, but I'm pinging where the doors are. You can see them on the map.
Yeah, I was trying to find over here.
Sure, but there's no doors there. You were looking for doors, so I gave you doors.
I see. Well, seeing that Elmina is inside the house, I'll unlock the doors, close them behind me, and then just kind of come out and see what I can see.
Okay, so you come out and you see what you can see. So you're out on the grounds. You guys never really did a full scope of the grounds when you got here. But you do see that there is a fairly, kind of beautiful display back here with this like kind of fancy bridge. There's what looks like some kind of tiered waterfall going down into kind of a pond area. It looks incredibly cold right now. You can even start seeing some of the the pond area beginning to get some little ice around the edges. And you can see that as you step a little bit forward out towards that bridge, you look off and you can see the to your east, you can see the like southeast, we'll say. You can see the crash of the golem. Door open, by the way.
I want to quietly come over to here, to sort of the corner of that basement area.
Okay. Doesn't
definitely.
you don't notice any of them around near you, by the way.
Okay.
So you move around the corner of the basement building, kind of get to a patio area, and you look and you can see what looks like Yasha has just finished climbing up the hill and is back at the top level of the grounds. So think of like tiered grounds. You're at the bottom level. He's now up at the top level.
So he clearly seems to be going back toward the front door.
Looks like it.
So Amada is glad that he's alive and sort of annoyed at this. So she's gonna go back where she came.
You run back inside, no problem. We could break it this point. Yasha, would you just run for the door, or would you try to finish this thing off?
Because I don't like them ganging up. I'll try and club this thing in the head before I go to the front door.
Yeah, go ahead. Roll your damage.
Oh, that's a 6. I damage it.
Yeah, describe your kill.
Okay, so it tried to like hit me with a brick, you said?
It did indeed. Like something it probably picked up along the way, like a planter brick or something.
Okay. As I like get in like a batter stance and just swing right for like the side of its head, I say, "I am the soul mason."
Oh gosh, inside joke. We used to play a lot of werewolf back in the day when we could play in person, and we used to have a joke about I am the soul mason because there's always 2 masons in this game. I love that stuff.
I take the brick from him as he falls down the hill.
So you smash and then you run inside, I assume. Is that right? Is that fair?
Yeah.
Okay, so you run back inside, close the foyer, and we can go ahead and break combat finally. And Yasha, you're kind of catching your breath in the foyer. Amada, you just went back inside. And Elmina, you have started, while that was all happening, you broke off and you had already started your kind of investigation of this lab down here. So let's start with you then. You come in here, and unlike the wine cellar and unlike the game room, which looks to be for entertainment and whatnot, this science lab is something else. It is recently renovated, modern, looks to be fully equipped private lab. You've got gleaming steel furniture, an operating table for crying out loud. There's equipment, scalpels, saws, beakers, burners, goggles, lab coats, etc. You can see that there's a table in here that's got some dried blood and a notebook. You also notice that there appears to be a refrigerator in here as well. That's currently closed. Not a walk-in, but like a decent size refrigerator as well. But yeah, that's what you see when you immediately walk in. What do you want to do?
Okay. She's gonna start looking in like drawers and stuff and in the fridge and see what's in there.
Yeah, when you open up the fridge, you see flopping out of it suddenly is this beige hand with this I can never pronounce this, anemone like rosette on its palm as it just falls out, just the arm itself. And you can see inside there appears to be this dissected, dismembered body of a beige person that you saw, like the ones you saw outside.
Okay. I'm gonna be a little freaked out, and I'm gonna shut that door.
Yeah, go ahead and roll a will, I think, as well. You're good.
Pass.
You've seen
6.
some shit, so you're stealing yourself. Back away, and you look around. There's all sorts of equipment. There's the table with the dried blood and the notebook, and then there's all sorts of like useful like surgical tools and things like that you could potentially grab.
Look in the notebook.
Okay.
I'm looking for basically information on those beige people.
Okay. You open up the notebook, and you can see that on the inside, it's signed Aranka Sadvik. This seems to be Aranka's notebook. Notes on small team Tele Empathetics 12. And there are a total of, it looks like 4 notes that kind of catch your interest. And this is all taking place over the course of like 10, 15 minutes as you're flipping through. First note that kind of catches your attention. Aurora this far south. Unusual. Related to recent tests? ? Second note. Servants haven't shown up yet. Marl suspects that bug that's been going around. Bug is in illness. Note 3. Changes at the cellular level. Swift regeneration, unusual structures, incredible resistance to heat and cold, susceptible to decapitation. And then the last note mentions your aunt. Vera is very worried. Should be able to break out with the Jasher, but missing heart. Remember, Dr. W mentioned their spare. Okay. Yasha, you're in the foyer. What's the first thing you want to do?
So Amada unlocked the door, so she's near me?
No, Amada's downstairs.
Yeah.
You haven't seen Amada yet.
We blocked the
2
front door.
ships passing in the night.
Oh, okay, so the front door is barred? Yeah. So
That's right, you did bar it. Roll a
so
strength. See if you can push it down. Let's do that.
Yeah. No.
Okay.
12 over 9.
Yeah, you realize it's barred.
We have
So
2
you're
rerolls left. It's up to you.
you're
Nats.
stuck there's none of them that are immediately on you right now, but you can see that there's a bunch of like mangled bodies that you ran over and with the golem before flying off the hill, right? And so some of them are still moving. They're working out to get up, and you can see that they're kind of trying to get ambulatory, but they don't seem to be immediately on you or anything like that, to the point where we're in combat time again. But what would you want to do with that info? You know that this is barred. Like you can tell just by pushing on it that it's not so much locked, but there's something heavy on the other side that's preventing you to get inside. There's also a very large window that would go into that kind of wet bar drinking area.
I think I've broken enough things for now, so I think what I'll do is just like use the club to like pound on the door to let them know I'm out here, and then yell like,
Okay.
"Let me in!" And then I'm just gonna coup de grace all these like mangled
Dear God.
quadriplegics.
Oh my God, you are a monster. Okay.
They bit me. I'm transforming.
I'll say, yeah, you bang on the door loud enough.
And Amada would have been running, like seeing the direction he was going. Amada would have been running back.
Okay,
to
that's
the-
fine. And Yasha, you also would notice that like that intense anxiety you were feeling you're not sure when it happened. At some point through all of this, it completely faded away, and then you start kind of going through and bopping them horrifically. And Amada, when you open the door, you see Yasha kind of covered in blood and burns and scars, and he's just like in the driveway, brutally smashing these beige people.
Amada has no judgment for that. He did what he needed to do to
Oh, wow.
stay alive.
Okay.
So she impaled one earlier, so kind of just
I'm on like 17 now, I think 16, something like that.
I mean, wipe your feet before you come in the house and like maybe
Ugh.
wash off a little bit, but get
Amada,
inside.
I'm seeing double right now. I'm just blood pouring out of my head.
Well, you
I
drove
need
your
to-
car off the side there.
Well, it was either that or let 15 hungry hippos eat us.
That's fair.
Uh,
Just get inside and just
We need to get to the hospital. We got to get a new auto golem. I almost called it an auto garage. I throw up casually because I have a concussion.
Oh God.
we need a right.
Okay.
Now is probably the best time. I can't. I mean, more are already coming. There are some on the east wall, where there's going to be more coming. We should try and get to the hospital and back before we are overrun again. We don't have time to waste. Where's the smaller version of you?
Elmina is in the basement. I was trying to open a door for you, and she went and looked at something. And then Amada's just going to go back towards the basement. Like, Elmina, where are you?
So Elmina, you're down kind of flipping through this notebook, and it's at that point that there's like kind of a flicker in the electricity, and then you hear like nearby, like there's a small radio on the counter, and you hear what sounds like a song kind of trickle in, and it's just like this weird old voice of a woman singing. Like it's definitely not modern music. It's definitely something probably somebody of an older generation might listen to, and you just kind of hear like, no one sings me lullabies, and no one makes me close my eyes. And then it crackles some more, and then all of the power in the house goes out.
Great. I'm glad I had a candle.
So Amada's just gonna, kind of Marco Polo her way towards Elmina.
Mhm.
I'm gonna like move to wherever on the counter there might have been some like first aid things. Cause I did get that weird thing on my arm. And maybe
Yeah. As you're down here and you hear Amada calling you, and you kind of, you're flipping through, it doesn't so much hurt. It kind of, like, it's there. It's kind of like itchy, almost like a bug bite in some way. But you feel this like flood of terror just suddenly overwhelm you. Maybe it was the song, maybe it was the lights going out. You're not entirely sure, but you just feel your sense of like self kind of start to drift. You hear Amada call out Elmina, and you don't like react because you think for a moment that isn't you.
uh-huh.
And then your head kind of like comes back, the light flickers out completely, and you call back, but this just utter sense of terror and dread is sort of overcoming you. But Amada, you're able to track her down. You're able to find her. You're able to grab a couple bandages and things. It's not a problem. Mechanically, if you want to take a short rest, it's like 5-10 minutes, and you can recover your HP. But stat damage is a long rest into the odd, which is more like a week worth of rest. So,
Got it. Okay.
a couple days at least. So eventually you all join back up. What do you want to do?
Just to confirm, did we take a short rest or no?
If you guys want to.
You could have taken one while she was going to get me.
Okay, yeah. Nursing my head with a slab of half a cow.
You're just leaning against it as it's
Yeah.
hanging.
Hello, cow.
Love it.
I love that detail so much. Okay.
So Yasha, we need to go like through the mass of these people to the hospital?
Well, we could use the side gate. Sorry, your words were so fast, it took me time to process.
So you're saying we need a new heart?
Either that or just a new auto golem, yeah. But we also need to go to the hospital for those tubes you all wanted for that holosphere upstairs. And that building's gonna they have high-tech stuff there. Either way, we need something.
Not to freak you guys out, but there was a science lab, I say, as like I hand out some of my first aid stuff to Yasha. And I'm like, there was like a fridge, and it had body parts of these like beige people. Their hands had this freaky symbol on it, and you and I both got grabbed, so I'm a little worried.
It was terrifying. That's why I drove my car off a cliff.
Yeah, I was pretty sure you were dead.
No, it's got good seatbelts.
Apparently, they have like regeneration properties, and they're susceptible to decapitation.
What about smashing in the head with a club? Is that close enough?
That's probably pretty close to decapitation, but I'm not 100%. It's like vampires. I don't know.
What about fire? Can we set them on fire?
I didn't say that in the notes, So I don't. We could try probably. But yeah. This is weird. And they were called the Tele-Empathetic 12. Like that's what she was calling them.
There's more than 12.
I killed 15
Roman
of them.
numeral X11.
Oh, okay. Okay, yeah. So, that's a little weird.
So is this like her science experiment then? What
I
kind
don't
of
know
job
if
you
that
bring me
was-
into?
I came here to find my aunt and she was dead. So that's rad.
I need hazard pay. I didn't sign up for getting attacked by no beige people.
If I live, you'll get it.
All right. Fair enough. We need to make our way over to the hospital now before if they keep coming in waves. I saw 3 of them after smashing up 15 of them.
If you guys want your hazard pay, though, we gotta find my aunt's will. Like, I need to find that.
So, by the way, as you guys are, where are you guys right now?
Probably ground floor, because he was in the foyer. So, well, he
Yeah,
said he
somewhere
was
ground
resting it
floor.
on the cow. So we're probably in the kitchen.
You guys hear a crash, breaking of glass somewhere in the house, and then you hear the constant ringing of some kind of door chime. You would have known that like there's one of those like old-fashioned kind of ring the doorbell with a underneath the bell, so it's not like powered, and you can just hear it over and over and over again. It just doesn't stop coming from the foyer area, to the point where you couldn't quite sort of echolocate where the crash of the glass came from. And it's dark in here. There's no power. None of the holospheres are lighting. None of the ambient lighting is on anymore. Everything's dark with the exception of whatever light you have on you.
So you're saying that you need to find that piece of paper before.
Yeah, but it might be too late now.
I mean,
I can't hear you guys over the sound of the ringing, and my head's killing me.
is there like an office, study, library area that like we can search quickly?
You know where there is a library. Yeah. In terms of quickly, that's kind of up to you all. Like I said, in terms of like exploring, like exploration mode, where it takes a couple minutes to 10 minutes to sort of thoroughly look through a room.
Yeah, Amada would prefer to try to makeshift some sort of weapons, pokey sticks, like things to protect. I mean, wrapping ourselves in like pillows or something. Like she doesn't really know what to do, but just something that would protect during the run across the street.
You hear crying echoing throughout the house from multiple
fucking
places.
Well, if we're gonna go, we need to go now.
All right, so I'm gonna say that I've tried to wrap myself in like a curtain, like a heavy like 70s curtain that I'm trying to like wrap myself in
Okay.
for a little extra protection, and like all of the kitchen knives have been handed out.
I think just to like Yasha also got touched through his clothes. So
I mean, technically you did too.
I
You
don't
have a
like talking
sleeve
about
on.
it.
yeah.
Well, you guys get this general sense that there's more around here somewhere, possibly in the house. So let's make a call. What are we doing?
Are you
Yasha
guys,
votes the hospital.
are you guys
That's
down to
fine.
go to the library with me first?
How far is that from where we're at?
Same floor.
Same floor.
Somewhere on the ground.
Oh,
It's the
yeah,
same
sure,
floor.
we can try. Oh,
And then we can
someone...
just like bar the door.
Well, if we trap ourselves in a room without another exit, I don't have another car to smash through 15 things at once.
There's windows and stuff.
I'm sorry, auto golem.
Yay, nay. There's a clock ticking. I already know. I can feel it with the music.
If you need it, we'll try our best. I'll go.
Okay.
I'm here to look out for you. So I mean, the piece of paper's not gonna do us any good if we're dead. So there's that. We're not gonna do you any good if we're dead.
That's true.
Okay.
Hopefully she just has an extra copy at the bank. Let's get out of here then.
You're leaving?
Yeah.
Okay. Which way do you want to go out?
Is there a door over here?
Stop saying here. People
Uh,
who are
so the-
listening can't. They don't
The
The west of the ground.
west side of the ground floor.
Okay, west side of the
By
ground
the
floor.
tree.
There are windows that can be broken through easily enough. Yeah.
All right, because that's the closest that we can get to where the street in the hospital.
Is that what we're doing?
Yeah.
Okay. You start moving through the very dark house at this point, and you hear again just the sounds and the cacophony of crying beige people, the constant ringing of this doorbell, and the periodic, like almost imperceptible crashes of glass, like hidden underneath those sounds. When you get to the western side of the house, you open the door onto, we'll call it the conservatory, as you're pushing through what looks like these thick tropical plants. There's butterflies and hummingbirds kind of moving around. And you can see that the kind of frosted glass outer base area has smashed, and you can see there's broken glass all around you. There's a chair nearby, and you can see there's a novel has been kind of set up here and there. There's all these like golden mushrooms in these little planters here and there. But you can see that in addition to the smashed glass, there does appear to be a door exiting out into the garden area, which is kind of like the northwest side of the compound.
Let's go.
Okay.
Yeah.
What's the marching order? I love asking that question.
Amada would like for Yasha to go first if he's agreeable and put Elmina in the middle.
Yeah, as long as you know how to watch our asses since we're being attacked already.
Okay.
And she's like cleaver rolling pin. One hand and
Okay.
one hand.
Are you trying to be a Greek lady? I don't understand the toga.
Imagine where Amada started tonight.
Yeah.
Nose up in the air, and now she's got a curtain wrapped around her, a cleaver in one hand, and a rolling pin in the other.
She's protecting her clothes,
Okay.
even though they're kind of bloodstained already.
Meanwhile, Yash is just like Hulk smash.
Okay. Three of you move
This is
out.
vintage.
You move out through the door and into the garden area. You can see in this area there is what looks like a small doghouse all the way to the northwest corner. You can see that the back gate that leads out of here, out of the grounds of the home, is unattended. There's no one there. You can see that off to your left along the fence, the broken area where the bow came down is still there. And you hear the sound of like a dog kind of whimpering from that doghouse. But as you leave this conservatory, one of these creatures like leaps out from behind what looks like a row of hedges at Elmina. Elmina, roll a dex save.
Wow.
3
Ooh.
pass.
You manage to kind of tumble out of the way. You stumble forward. Yasha, you kind of get the brunt of it. You go stumbling forward. You can see that Amada kind of gets cut off from the two of you as this one just kind of leaps here. And you can see that in the entire time that they're like acting on, they're just crying as they are turning around, and they look like they're extending their arm in the direction of Elmina. What do you do?
I club it.
Roll your damage.
Yasha
You
only
club it.
understands one thing, and that's clubbing. Oops, that's a
Okay.
one.
Such a monster. Yeah, you swing at it. It's kind of elusive. This one's a little spry, moving about. When you look a little bit more closely, you realize that this is like, as best you can tell, looks to be like some kind of butler. Like they're dressed in kind of dignified clothes. It might be one of the missing servants. You're not sure, but they have on what looks like servant attire. And they're moving at a relatively spry. You think it's a woman, but it's hard to tell with kind of the beige kind of blandness of the face of the body. What do you want to do, Elmina?
I also want to hit it.
Roll your damage.
6.
You go ahead and describe what you do to this servant.
So I feel terrible, but I still have my scythe. And I just kind of like take a wide swing and I decapitate it.
I'm just imagining you're like the Christmas ghost of Christmas yet to be, and you just don't say anything. You just point to it and then decapitate it.
Oh dear God. Oh my goodness. Okay. Yeah, you do. All right. So you see the gate up ahead. You don't see any more in the immediate area, but you still hear the sounds and echoes of crying through the night. The sounds of the doorbell ringing, and the sounds of a dog whimpering off to the northwest. What do you do?
Try and quietly get through the gate to head to the hospital.
Okay. You all do, and you do. Yeah, you get out of the gate, you run, you get into what looks like kind of open field for a bit. You're in what's called, you would know this, Yasha, is effectively just called the Commons. So you guys are looking at the map, again, somewhat abstracted. So you guys are kind of, it's a bigger distance. Like you're not like right next to the hospital. You're kind of traveling past here and there. But are you trying to stay, I'll just put it this way. Are you moving quickly or are you trying to move quietly? What would you say you're emphasizing more?
Yasha would vote for quietly.
If there's none like immediately visible, quietly.
Agreed.
Okay. You don't see any invisible. You think that they might have been starting to pile up on the other side of the house where the car exploded and the door was and all that kind of stuff. So you think you might have that sounds like it caused a distraction to kind of pull them over in that direction. But yeah, you managed to move relatively expediently. Let's see. All right, so effectively you're in a lot of like these unfenced fields between the mansion grounds and the hospital itself. You can see that there's buildings that crop up here and there, likely utility of some kind. Could be supply buildings, poles for power, stuff like that. There could be, you're not sure exactly what's in them, but in this interval, you do see plenty of other buildings pop up. Could be cottages for homes, etc. But if you're making a beeline for the hospital, we can just say that and just skip towards it.
Yeah.
Okay, fair enough. So when you arrive at the hospital, you can see that it's this kind of glazed brick and raw concrete that is decorated with these golden mushrooms and green suns that have been painted on some of the walls here and there. There's a fairly large and tall topiary hedge that kind of surrounds the entire grounds as best you can tell. It looks to be more for decorative privacy and not so much protection, as you could probably just push through it pretty easily like the Homer Simpson meme. The main gate is open. It looks like one of the two of this swinging gates has kind of been damaged and is off its hinge, whereas the other is kind of remaining static, but you can easily get inside. When you peek into the grounds, you notice that off to, near the immediate entrance, there's this arrow pad. It's completely plain ground. There's like a tether pole in the center of it. It looks to be a place where some kind of aircraft vessel would land. You can also see that there are autogos that are scattered everywhere. You also see a couple ambulances here and there, which are restricted use. So there's those are kind of trickier to make work. You can see the entrance to a couple different wings. There appears to be like an emergency wing, like specifically for emergency cases. There's also a patient wing. And the entire hospital is like 2 stories, and you can see this is this long rectangular flat roof above it. You do notice, though, that kind of scattered about this parking lot area amidst some of these vehicles, you do notice that there are numerous numerous creatures, these beige people here and there. What would you like to do? They haven't noticed you yet.
Amada's gonna look at Yasha because he was the one that mentioned about needing a new heart for a auto golem. So kind of gonna take his lead on which of these he's gonna try to work on.
Yasha, you would know that the auto goes wouldn't work. They wouldn't have enough power. They're really small. Think of them like mopeds, basically, or really small cars. And you're trying to power like a really big, beefy van. Ambulances might work, but you would know that it's not an easy task to just detach a heart from an ambulance auto golem. Like, you would know that there is security, so taking it out could cause like alarm to go off or something like that, and it would take a little bit of time to like remove it in a safe manner. So it could work.
What about like starting the ambulance and driving it over to the mansion?
You would know that would specifically require some kind of like ID check, because these are restricted vehicles. So if you were able to find that possibly in the hospital or something like that, you could make it work, but you wouldn't be able to just do it yourself.
Yeah. So then Yasha will just point to the hospital and then like motion like a key symbol and point to one of the ambulances. But then also just say like, put a finger to his mouth and be like, apparently they don't have X-ray vision. So like if they can't see us or hear us, then we're good.
And we'll go toward the door.
So there's basically two entrances that you can tell. One seems to go to the patient wing. One seems to go to the emergency wing. There's plenty of windows and things as well throughout and kind of wrapped around the hospital. But like the two main entrances in the big parking lot area is patient wing, which doesn't seem to be emergency care, and then the emergency care section,
Which is closer.
We'll say that the emergency care is closer, and that's where more of the vehicles are scattered.
Yeah.
And that's
We
also
might
where
have-
more of the people are scattered.
Got it.
Yeah, I say the closest entrance is the best entrance.
Okay. So if you're trying to just sneak past them and into the hospital, okay. I think I'm gonna want some dex saves here to try to move quietly. That's two
Success
successes.
with an 8.
That's a fail.
I think we have
That's a
2
16.
rerolls
Hey, I
left.
failed. Or I mean, I
You
passed.
passed.
I got an 11.
I'll
We
try and reroll.
okay. So Elmina, you'll try and re-roll.
Yay!
Pass with a
All
7.
right, that's 3 successes with 3 people sneaking in. So you try to, like Yasha said, they don't seem to have X-ray vision. So you try to, as quietly and carefully as you can, use the auto goes, use the ambulances to kind of block yourself from view. As you're coming in, you do notice that they're not like actively searching. Instead, all of them are just staying completely still. And each one of them is just staring upward towards the hospital. Like into, like almost as if they're peering in through windows. But when you look up, you can't really see anything. It's too dark here. There's flickering lights. Maybe emergency power has kicked in. But you can see that they're not actively looking for you. And that allows you to get inside. And so you go into the... Yeah, go ahead.
So for Amada, would this look like her vision on the way in of like a bunch of people looking up at a sun?
It does, in fact, have... they're not looking at the sun. They're looking specifically into the hospital. But it does, now that you think about it, definitely reminds you of that group of people that all just seem to be staring off in the same direction. And that was in a park not too far from here. So you head into the emergency wing, and you look around, and you can see what looks like, all these different stretchers and things here and there. You can see an empty waiting area. You can see there's been definitely some kind of disarray, but there's more of these creatures in here as well. And as you kind of work your way into the wing, you do notice that they've, as far as you can tell, like ripped through like the ceiling in one section of the emergency ring, and they're building something. You can see that they're kind of repurposing different pieces that they found within the hospital itself. They're taking things like, the steel doors of cabinets. They're taking what looks like reinforcement beams from like stretchers or from interior sections of the wall, or they're taking things from elsewhere that they found within the town, and they seem to be building some kind of structure in here, and it's kind of pulsing this sort of basic little, almost like a glow coming from some sort of central object that you can't quite make out, as there's just this flurry of people around them. Would anyone here have like any kind of architectural, like based upon the backstories that you have, like architectural history or any kind of like building construction in your past, would you think?
No.
Definitely not Amada. Yasha, I'll give you a roll for it. Roll a will, since you are more of a blue collar character compared to the other two.
No.
Yeah.
12 over 10 failed.
You can't fit it exactly what it is, but it does look like some kind of, like they're building from the ground floor of the emergency wing, and they're pushing up, and it's kind of extending towards the rooftop somehow. Like there's whatever it is, it's like they're building a building within a building.
I would say maybe, since I'm a student, like if it's like mythologically related, or like.
No, it's more architectural. Just if you kind of identify this type of building. It's not it's not the most vital thing in the world. It was just
Can
a
I
little
try
added
to
bit.
roll it?
Yeah, go ahead.
Sorry, it was a will.
Yeah.
So I failed by less than 5.
Don't forget, you guys have actions and things like that. I think.
Yeah, that's what I'm using.
Been
I'm using
tapping.
my quiet competence.
Okay.
So if I fail a test by less than 5, it has no negative consequences.
Okay. So, yeah, you get kind of close. So you basically move in a little closer to try to get a better view of this. It doesn't mean you pass. It just means you don't suffer consequences, right? What does it say?
Oh, yeah, I suppose.
So we'll say you sneak in a little closer, and in the process of doing so, you knock something over. And all of a sudden, like 6 or 7 of their heads just whip back in unison back towards where Amada had been sneaking, and they begin to slowly creep and get closer to this sort of desk nursing station around which Amada was creeping. And they're looking, and they just don't seem to find Amada, who's now kind of hiding underneath the desk of a nurse. Eventually, satisfied, they turn back around and move towards the the whatever it is they're building here.
Do we need to try to find an office or somewhere that would have a key for the... So I'm just going to make sort of like point at Yasha and just key and just kind of looking for like an office or a locker area or something.
What is it you're looking for?
Well, like a security key for one of the ambulances, so you can just start it up and get it out of there.
So we're probably looking for like a paramedic or like a driver or something, and snagging it off of them.
Yeah, so either like an office where they might have like a coat or clothes hanging up, or like a locker area or something.
Okay. Why don't all of you roll will as you're kind of trying to get a sense for where this stuff might be, looking around
Success.
carefully.
I failed.
Success with a 2.
Okay. So, from your position underneath this nurse's station, Amada, you can see what looks like some kind of directory and assignments of different doctors, and you see that there is a Dr. W that apparently has an office on the 2nd floor of the patient wing. Who else got a success?
I did.
You notice that not too far from the entrance to the emergency wing, there is kind of a secure room. And when you look through like this little cutout in the, like a window cutout, it looks like there's a series of like jackets of EMT type jackets that are kind of hanged up on hooks and various other supplies. You would think it's some kind of check-in, check-out area, probably for EMTs, medical, like motive medical professionals. So there might be a key in there, is what you would probably think.
Okay. Yeah, I'd probably head for that.
Okay. All right. Let me see. All right. You start moving in that direction. You realize the door is locked. It's some kind of mechanical lock. You could probably pick it or break it down.
Can I use my biometric access? A locked thing opens.
Yeah. So why don't you tell us why your character would know how to pick a lock? Because that's what you do. You find a way to kind of like break into the lock.
Why would I know how to pick a lock? My family had made their money on some questionable means, and sometimes thievery is involved.
Okay. What are you doing with the other bit of information about Dr. W's office location?
So Amada's gonna, kind of get eye contact with Yasha, and just kind of make symbol for like heart, upstairs, Dr. W. And so, like, gonna go towards like a stairwell. Or
We're
something.
playing charades.
We are.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay.
I will follow along.
Okay. So the two of you go up. You find a stairwell and you go upstairs. Again, they don't seem to notice you as you quietly open the door, find a stairwell, which is fortunately not occupied, and you work your way up. Both of you go ahead and roll strength saves, however, as you open up onto the second floor of the emergency wing, and you're going to kind of cut across to the patient wing.
Fail.
I failed.
Both of you take a point of strength damage as you feel kind of suddenly sapped. You don't feel like you just feel winded, more so than you would think just for climbing a set of stairs. Like you just feel like something's kind of sapping your strength to a degree. But up here you can see that large structure that they're building breaking through the kind of the floor that they had broken down. Why don't the two of you re-roll your stealths as you try to like cross over the emergency wing and into the patient wing?
If it meets it, is that not good enough? Or
Meeting's fine.
No, yeah.
Meeting's fine.
Okay, yeah.
You
I
want to
made
go
it.
equal to or under?
So
We have one
failed with a
left.
12 over 10.
You could tap into your fail with no consequence.
Yeah, I'll do another use of that one. Yeah.
Yeah. So basically, what's going to happen here is a similar thing as the two of you are beginning to stealth around, and you can see there's fewer of these creatures up here, but they're building whatever it is they're building. Think about like the end of Super 8 as like there is that large structure, that hodgepodge of different things. It's almost creating like some kind of odd device. It's kind of what's happening here, but it's more like rectangular. It's almost got like a sloped roof. It looks almost like a cupola, in a way. And as you're moving across, you can see that this bar that one of them was trying to like solder on to this thing falls down to the ground, just slowly rolls across, and it comes right next to Amada, separating Yasha, who sneaks across without issue. And you see, one of these figures moves over towards Amada, reaches down, picks up the bar, but I guess it was just too dark in this area, or you just happen to be partially obscured by one of these garbage cans, and you're able to get across as well. Inside of the picked lock room, where you can see all of the different paramedic, it's like a locker room in a way. You can see there's a series of lockers. There's what looks like these med bags, these jackets here and there, a handful of what looks like medical tools and devices. You look around, Elmina, and you do find that there is kind of a tack board with a series of like a what are those things called, like a punch clock, and there's like a series of there is a series of like punch cards, and then there's all these lockers with some of them are open, some of them are closed here and there. What do you want to do?
She's gonna just take her time and quietly look through the room. See if there's any notes about what the hell is happening in this little town, and just grab punch cards.
Okay. Yeah, you look around. There's no notes that you can tell. Like everything you're seeing in this room seems to be more about like work assignments, shifts, things like that. There is, I would say, if you're taking your time and you're really examining things, you can probably infer there was a increase in frequency of calls for some of these med buses over the last couple of weeks. Specifically within the last week, it seemed to accelerate, and then there's all sorts of things about call outs, like people were coming in as well. So sometime over the past week, between the increase of calls needed for emergencies and the amount of people that suddenly weren't coming into work anymore, stuff started to break down, is probably what you can conclude. But that's about all you'd be able to conclude.
Yeah.
So where would you be searching in the room for, like, what is it you're looking for?
I'm looking for like punch cards and probably like a key to start the car. So I'm gonna look in the lockers that are open to see if any look like they're paramedics or like the drivers.
Okay.
And then focus on those and see if they have anything left behind that I can use.
Yeah, you go through some of these and you do find a lot of badges, like scan badges that you could potentially use, which you would know that with these particular devices, these are less about keys, it's more like about push button starting. But it's in the case of these restricted vehicles, you have to take your kind of access card, slide it into the slot next to the punch key.
Oh, okay.
And so you grab a couple of those just to make sure. Hopefully one of them would work.
Yeah.
Okay. Upstairs, you make it to Dr. W's room, Amada and Yasha. But as you're passing through the patient wing, you do notice though, like something. It's kind of eerily empty. Whereas the emergency room wing was filled with a significant number of these creatures, the patient wing, there's no one here.
Just all the beds are empty.
You look inside rooms, nobody. You look inside offices, nobody. Everything is completely and utterly empty. But yeah, you make it into Dr. W's room.
Yeah, I think we're trying to be quiet, so we're not really going to like react to each other to that too much.
Okay. And so what are you looking for?
There was that note that mentioned the spare heart with Dr. W.
Okay. All right. Okay. Yeah, you step in here to the room and you can see that there's, it's modern, but it's not as sleek and up to date as Elmina's aunt's home or where she was staying, but it does certainly have a kind of a modern office quality to it. But you do see that annexed next to this office is a laboratory and kind of a series of cabinets, steel cabinets here and there. All of it again completely empty. You start going through these things, looking, kind of pulling out whatever you can find. Lab coats, equipment here and there. Looks like there's a lot of sort of like cybernetic equipment. Like this looks to be like maybe this person focused a lot on, creating like artificial limbs, that kind of thing. And you do find in one of these large cabinets what you would be able to recognize, Yasha, and even you, Amada. Like it's not like an uncommon thing as a giant case of a kind of an auto golem heart that looks to be in good condition.
All right, we'll grab that. Do there happen to be any of the vacuum tubes in here as well, just in case?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Go ahead and roll a will test. Or we'll say, just as you look around, see if you can kind of identify the right kind or whatever.
6 under 10 success.
I'll say, yeah, for sure. You do find a couple of those as well. So if you did need to, you could potentially repair the long holosphere. The only problem now, though, is that you would still need to get power to it, and with the power going out at the mansion, you have to figure out some other way of getting it power.
Okay. I'll pocket the tubes if they're small enough or something like that, and then carry the heart, and I guess make our way back to Elmina. Elmina.
Yeah.
While Yasha was doing
Elmina.
that, Amada wanted to look for, again, sort of more like what the hell's going on here, kind of information. So.
Okay. So you don't see anything within this room to suggest that it's been used in an experimentation way on these creatures the way that with others. It is a little bit in disarray, and it does get you do get the sense that like this room might have been repurposed, as there are patient beds that have been pushed into here, and this looks more like a laboratory. There's nothing lingering here to suggest a kind of causal nature of what's happened. It's more just you think it got to the point where it was extreme and there's beds and stuff kind of pushed around. It does also seem as though the main entrance into this lab, not the annexed one from the office, was barricaded from the inside. So, but other than that, you don't find any like clear info about what happened.
So the main entrance to the lab was barricaded from the inside?
Yeah.
We are on the out.
So think about it's a laboratory with one entrance from the hall, one entrance from the office. The office, there was no resistance. You opened the door just fine. You opened the lab door just fine. But it was the main entrance from the hallway seemed to have been barricaded.
Okay. But we're in this area, so we can see everything that's in the lab.
Mm-hmm. And again, there's nobody here whatsoever.
Yeah, I mean, Amada will just sort of whisper to Yasha. It's just, where did everyone go?
I think whatever's I think whatever we've been hunted by is what happened here.
So those are all the people that were here. Those
Yeah.
are all the patients.
Some of them I saw earlier had uniforms on.
Oh. So then I guess we'll go meet back out front where we left.
Okay.
Elmina.
Reroll your stealth on your way out. Very nice.
Ooh, double twos.
Look at you guys with your twos. 2 under 13, 2 under 10. Absolute stealth. Do you go back the way you came since you know the direction, or do you try to find a different route?
I would say go the way we came just because we know that stairwell was empty.
Okay.
Yeah.
You head over to the stairwell. And again, you pass by that strange structure. You manage to do so without drawing any attention whatsoever from the creatures that are messing with it. Open the door to the stairwell and start moving down. There was roof access as well, but you start going back down. And again, as you're passing by, as you're opening the door, as you're moving down the stairwell, you just feel this like drain overtake you. Like you just utter exhaustion. Both you take a point of strength damage as well. Or not strength. You could take it off your HP first, I should say, technically. Sorry.
Oh.
Okay.
That's
both
that's
times?
my bad. Yeah.
Cool. Okay.
You just feel like sapped in some
And that
way.
effect is only in the stairwell.
It's in this
Nowhere
area,
else.
like on the second floor, around this thing that they're building.
Okay.
Okay.
Right, so we'll go back down to that EMT room.
Okay. And at this point, you can kind of reunite with Elmina, and you have both Autumn Golem Heart that Yasha is carrying, bulky by the way, and you have a series of key cards that could potentially give you access to one of these emergency vehicles.
And the tubes for the machine.
And the tubes are the things that you'll probably be carrying because they're not,
Yeah.
they're not big, but they're delicate.
So we found everything that we came for. So we should probably
I just got to get back to the mansion.
go back
So-
across the commons.
Yeah. If we want to remain stealthy, we can sneak back across the commons. Although I'm sure the mansion is still crawling with them, so we could try like, or the tree down the fence, or maybe even the front gate where we originally came in, and then see if we could hook up the heart to the van, or we could just start one of these ambulances up, and then just go loud the whole way, and maybe even like, because these have sirens, so we could like drive it partially to the
Yeah.
mansion as a distraction, and then go around the sideway or something and draw them out of the mansion and away. So that could work.
Yeah, we could do that. I'd prefer to be inside a vehicle going across that than just.
Okay.
She
Yeah, we'll
sort
go
of looks
for.
down at the curtain that's around her. Like it's not really gonna do a ton.
Okay. So remember that the medical vans were like surrounded by these creatures and stuff. So how do you want to go about getting in one of them?
I could just be the bait, I guess, and just draw them away by making noise.
My dual wielding cleaver and rolling pin for protection while he gets the.
Okay. So
Well,
Yasha.
you're testing the keys. So that's all we're doing. Keys is just testing the keys for the.
Well, I'm asking how you get
Oh,
inside
no.
of him. So Yasha's saying he wants to do a distraction.
Yeah, I'll do a distraction, then you two can like hold on to the heart and all that stuff while
Yeah.
I like try and lure him away.
Okay. Yasha, roll a dex save. See how fast you can run. See if any of them can catch you.
I'm not very fast. At
Okay.
15.
You start running, and immediately all of those that were kind of huddled in this area hear the sound, and you just hear them begin. Hear the sound of him, kind of like footsteps, gravel, etc. All their heads in unison turn really quickly. Amada, you watch this as all of them stare and their mouths open and they start to cry, and then they burst into a run and they chase after Yasha. What are Amada and Elmina doing while this is happening?
Going through all of the little key card things that Elmina found.
Okay.
See what opens one.
Yeah, you start busting open. We'll say she can, we can get into them with one of her abilities, and we'll say you can get in fairly quickly. You start going through some of the different keys. Eventually, like the key cards, I should say, and eventually you find one that works. Hit the button, and one of these medical buses begins to hum. These are fairly big, because like think of them like an ambulance, basically.
Sure.
Okay.
So then we're gonna try to drive it basically over to pick up Yasha. Like
Okay. So Yasha, where were you headed?
I'm just gonna run toward the commons, big open space, to try and lose them.
All right. So yeah, you start running, and you notice, like as you're running, like you're being chased by what look like twins with pigtails, like all covered in beige. You see like all these different like hayseed gardeners chasing after you, doctors and nurses like are kind of running. As you manage to get through the entrance to the hospital, and you kind of turn around the hedgerow corner, you come smashing right into what looks like this staple of office workers with their short collars and stuff. Yeah, go ahead and roll. Your dex save already failed, so they're gonna be able to hit you. Take 3 points of damage.
Okay.
So Amada will say you're driving because Elmina had to step away. So you
Sure.
drive the car, you drive this ambulance out. None of them seem to turn to your attention yet, but you are going to be following essentially what looked like a big mass of them that were chasing after Yasha. Do you want to go out this main gate? Do you want to try to run through the grass, one of those hedgerows? What do you want to do?
I am staying as close to Yasha's running path as possible.
Okay. So let's see if they turn their attention to you at all. Okay. As you push through the gate that goes to the hospital, you can see of all of those, like the dozen or so that are chasing Yasha, a couple of them have caught him, and he's kind of stumbling around on the ground. They're like hitting him. He's getting up and trying to run, and they're kind of grabbing at him, slowing him down here and there, and he's in a little bit of trouble. You can see that 3 of them kind of turn their attention over towards you as the ambulance pulls through the entrance to the hospital, and they kind of run in your direction. One of them just wholesale launches themselves at the front of the bus and just grabs onto like the windshield wipers in a kind of classic action movie pose, while another one of them throws themselves down at the tires, and you can feel this bump that slows you down, and the third reaches out and jumps and tries to grab onto the side. What do the two of you want to do?
Amada's gonna just continue closing the distance between her and Yasha, and she'll try to do some maneuvering to try to get them off once Yasha's been.
Yeah, roll a dex to see how, like, this is a big, bulky, this isn't like a sleek, high end, you know.
Exactly.
10 on 10. Absolutely. You're able to kind of swerve, and the one that tried to like hop onto the side, you swerve right at the right time, and you just smash into it, and you hear as it goes stumbling down to the ground. The one on the front still kind of hanging on. Yasha, what do you want to do as you're kind of quickly getting surrounded in the commons area?
I'll try and grab onto the side of the ambulance, seeing them doing that and being like, all right, I can just clamber on myself.
Okay, you're gonna try to run over and like grab, because they was like trying to grab like the side window or something like that, you know, like the not the side mirror, excuse me. You try to run over, and you can try to hop onto the back. There's that extra large fender or something like that.
Yeah, I would do that on the back.
All right, I think that's dex save to try to avoid, navigate between this and then hop onto it.
19, I didn't make it.
Okay. So you managed to get away from the crowd and leap, but because of the swerve, like you weren't able, you reach out and you grab and you stumble onto the gravel itself. Elmina, you're in the passenger side of this. You can see that Yasha just tried to kind of like run. If you're coming out, going kind of a southwesternly direction, he was kind of going in a northwesternly direction and trying to come around to the back. But you see him in your side mirror, kind of stumbling around in the gravel. Didn't make it and didn't grab on. Amada has already taken her turn and swerved and managed to take one of them out. What do you want to do?
Could I have done like an assistance, like attempted to help grab him?
It's already happened, so
Okay.
We're moving on. Plus, he was trying to grab into the back. So what do you want to do instead?
Are there still ones on the vehicle?
There's one on the front hood, yeah.
Hanging onto the windshield.
Yes, doing the classic grabbing on. And it's the whole time it's like its head is up and it's just its beige face is just looking at you, crying the whole time.
Is there anything like long in here, or like I guess I can see if I can borrow Amada's rolling pin and like roll the window down and just smack at its hands.
Would you have dropped your scythe at some point? Weren't you carrying that big old ugly scythe?
I would have dropped it before we got in the hospital.
Yeah, there's no reason you couldn't grab her cleaver or her rolling pin. That's fine.
Okay, cool.
You're reaching out to try to hit it. So you're trying to like reach
I
around.
want to like hit its hands because I'm assuming its hands are kind of far out on either side.
Okay.
So one might be close to my window.
Roll a dex save. See if you can keep your balance here while you're doing this. Is not hard. If you crit fail, you fall out.
11.
11 is perfect. Roll your damage. Roll a d6.
Oops, that's a D8. 2.
You smack onto you don't like kill it, but you cut right into its hand, and the hand kind of limps free. The other hand is still hanging on. I'm gonna do a little test with it, and you see it does slide off and fall.
Nice. Okay.
But it doesn't die as it's kind of getting up at this point. Part of its hand severed, and you can see it already kind of starting to stitch together. They're gonna go. I'm gonna have a few of them try to break down the sides of the doors. I'm gonna have 6 of them are gonna turn now and chase after Yasha in the back. The rest are gonna throw themselves onto the ambulance one way or the other, and so we're looking at about 10 more. So do another roll really quick. Of the 10, they all just start leaping onto the ambulance. One by one, they just bounce off of it. Boom, 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 boom. But one of them manages to grab on to the driver's side mirror and is kind of clinging and is punching at the driver's side window to where Amada is sitting. Yasha, you are going to take, as they have started to surround you in the back, 1 point of damage as I rolled a 1 on my damage roll. Great rolls, Jeff. Very happy. Your guys' turn. So, Amina, you just managed to knock one off the front hood. Amada, you're driving, but there's now one that's trying to punch through the driver's side window. Yasha, you're surrounded by 6 of these behind the ambulance. What do you all want to do?
Could I leave my seat and go to the back of the ambulance and get that door open for Yasha?
That sounds like a great idea. Sure. Yeah, you absolutely do that. Door opens up. Yasha, you can see the door open up, and there's Elmina standing in the back.
I'll try and make my way into the ambulance.
Yeah, because you're surrounded, we'll say there's gonna be a dex save to do that without them getting a shot at you.
Oh, just barely.
And you manage to just, as you almost do like a feint, as you charge at them, they go to swing, and you duck under a roll, and then you hop on to the back, and you are now like in the back of the ambulance as well. Amada, what are you doing? This one is still trying to punch through the glass by you.
I guess I'll roll my window down and try to hit it with my cleaver.
You're going to roll the window down and try to hit it with your cleaver.
Or you could just slam the door open and hit him off.
Oh, yeah. Good call. I'll do that.
Sure, yeah. Roll a d6. Okay.
2.
Yeah, you slam the door open, and you can see that it causes you don't kill them, but you manage to you hit them enough that they fall off and tumble into the ground. So currently there aren't any on the ambulance, but there are quite a few that are surrounding it that tried to hop onto this big, bulky, blocky ambulance themselves. Are having a little bit more trouble as the sides of the ambulance are much higher than the other golem that you guys were driving here. They couldn't really hop on top of it. So yeah, let me do another roll to see if they... Yeah. So like 2 of them are gonna hop into the back of the ambulance as you're driving away. The rest of them are still kind of getting up and starting to chase. So they're just like in full sprint chasing. But 2 of them that were surrounding Yasha managed to sort of follow you into the back of the ambulance. What do you guys want to do?
Is there a gurney back there?
Sure. We'll say there's a loose gurney back here.
I just want to see if we can, Yasha and I can use the gurney to just push both of them out.
Okay. Do you want to commit to this, Yasha? Elmina, roll a strength save at advantage. Roll it twice and take the better.
9.
Passed on both of them.
Times.
So since you managed to, the 2 of you each get to one side of it, you just slam into them and they go tumbling back out. Again, not enough to really harm them, but you get them out of the ambulance. Amada, what do you want to do?
Amada's yelling back to them like, "We're just driving away, right? Do we need to go back? Can we just drive away?
I mean,
Just
how's the gas?
Driving?
How are we on gas?
How are we on gas?
Half a tank, you can get out of here easily.
I think we should just drive. I think we
Yeah.
just keep going."
Yeah.
Okay. So you hit the gas, and even though it's kind of a slow acceleration, you're eventually able to outpace them because they weren't able to grab a fine hold on the ambulance. And you get back on the road and you start speeding away. You start heading northward a bit, through the darkness of town. At this point, it's been several hours since you've been here, probably nearing dawn. Kind of going, well, first you would probably veer southward, kind of down past the lake, kind of get by the river, hang a left, start heading northward, kind of curving around, getting on a major road. The whole way, you're seeing other things. You're seeing rows of farmers, underneath the light of the fast stars and the slow stars, gazing at you from what look like the sides of fields. You can see the lights in their eyes flickering. You pass by this thermal plant, and it's just utterly dark, not functioning. You're wondering if any of the cottages in the area are getting any kind of heat or warmth. Eventually you get to what looks like kind of the outskirts area of what you would likely call the town, Yasha. And as you kind of pass through it, all of you you almost feel some kind of of loss happen, like something was just ripped from you. You just feel the absence of a thing. You just feel this moroseness suddenly hit you, this sudden acute depression that is just with you for a moment, as if something was just wrenched free. But as you look back, some of those farmers and their tractor golems trying to chase you, but ineffectually so, they seem to stop right at that point where you felt that sadness, as if that marked a line for them. And you continue traveling. Each one of you go ahead and roll a d6, will you please?
1.
I also got a 1.
Got a 5.
1, 1, 5. Okay. Perfect. Gotcha. So, ultimately, you get away. We're kind of into like the epilogue stage now. You get away. And for a while, all of the headlines of newspapers, Crystals, the CNN of this world, etc., stories are talked about this town. Because apparently, after maybe you reached some authorities and talked about it, people came back and they looked. There's no one here. Everyone was gone. No signs of beige people. No signs of Aunt Vera. No signs of anyone. It was just a complete and empty ghost town. Everything gone. Some of the people who kind of came and looked felt like that absence of something. Like it felt like a dead place, a place where like there wasn't warmth, there wasn't hearth, there was nothing there. And you know, there were theories that came about in the news: mass suicide, subterranean raiders, flesh-eating rain was fairly popular for a while. Any person you ever talked to about beige people overtaking everybody, hive-like things, kind of creating this sort of unison behavior, none of them believe you. Elmina, after about 2 years of wrangling, you're able to finally get the mansion back. But at a certain point, like this real estate consortium buys the whole town and turns it into some kind of Rex and relaxation facility for soldiers on leave. Let's do this one by one. Elmina, what'd you roll?
I rolled a 5.
Your time over the next months and years after your experiences here, looking for your aunt, a little bit of good, a little bit of bad. What's one good thing that happened to you, not counting what I've already mentioned, and one bad thing that's happened to you?
One good thing that happened to me was I did graduate and get my degree.
Okay.
One bad thing that happened to me was I got caught stealing an art piece, but I was able to bribe myself from avoiding arrest to house arrest, and I've been under house arrest for 3 years.
Okay. Amada, a terrible misfortune over the next couple of years. You don't have anything good happen.
Oh.
What's the worst thing that happens to you over the next couple months and years as the memory of your time with these beige people dwindles?
I would say like she acts like she has a lot of money, but she actually doesn't. And so she just goes into massive debt. Because all of it was just a front and a sham.
Okay.
And so she is like penniless and just loads and loads and loads of debt.
Yasha, same thing for you. You, ever since you felt that shot of anxiety, ever since you You drove violently over all of those beige people. You smashed their brains in almost comically. Things have just gotten worse and worse and worse for you. What's the worst thing that's happened to you over the months that follow?
So, being the local expert, but also being very adamant about like the experiences that I had, and being like, I used to have a car and I don't have a car anymore. No one took me seriously, and no one like used my services as like a local expert or like even a workman or anything. And so Yasha just became more and more bitter and resentful, and actually ended up like going away for harming somebody, just being so fed up. They just called him like, freak or something like that, and he just grabbed them by the throat and just put them into the ground. Violence is kind of all he started to understand after a while.
Okay. And so, as time passes, it's rough. Like leaving the confines of the town. Something about that barrier, the memory of what they were building. The story is that when some of them returned and they looked at the hospital the way that you suggested, they didn't find anything there. They didn't find any people, nothing like that. Everything was just missing. It just felt like a dead area. All of those memories kind of linger on. And everything you do, you kind of come back to it. You hear at night, you wake up, all three of you, to like the sounds of the cries of those beige people, whoever they were, whatever they might have been. Where did they go? Who are they? No one ever figures any of it out exactly. And that's where we're going to end on this sort of sad and miserable lives of the people who made it out. You survived, but did you? Yeah, so
The whole thing was sad. All
Yeah.
those beige people.
Yeah, all those poor beige people that you guys murdered. Horrible. They just wanted to come inside.
People. Yeah.
They just want to come inside. They asked politely.
Yeah.
It's like Beauty and the Beast, and we're just killing all those poor people.
So that's where we'll end. Maybe we'll return to these characters in the Lastlands at some point, because there's other games that I want to play. Long Winter especially is sitting on my I got the books behind me from Exalted Funeral, Witchburner as well. We already got our UVG going on Mondays, every other Monday, I should say. So very much looking forward to playing more of this. I really like this stuff. If you're still watching, thanks for hanging out with us this whole time.
Yes, thank you.
But this, I'm dropping a link again. Exalted Funeral. You can grab a physical copy of the book. You can grab PDF. You can also go on there on Luca Rayet's got a Patreon. I'm a patron for, what's it called? Strato Metaship, I think it's what it is, or Wizard Thief Fighter, one of the two, or Wizard Fighter Thief, something like that. But you can find, you can find their stuff everywhere. A mixture of like art and writing, just really cool stuff. If you're looking at this on like YouTube later and you just see the cover, I love the cover of it. You see, like, I'm not sure if the three of you can see the overlay from where you're at, but like, I just picture all of those like white figures. It's the beige people just knocking on windows and doors trying to come in, and yeah.
He didn't let them in.
Yeah, so I'll spoil a few things. So fair warning, if you're going to run this adventure or if you're going to play it and you don't want to figure out exactly what's going on, I'll spoil a few things for the three of you, since so yeah, they were building a thing in the hospital that effectively, for all intents and purposes, we're just going to call it an ascension device, right? So they just ascend, right? That's kind of what happened. It's effectively what they were doing.
I was thinking of like the pillar from Dead Space.
Oh yeah. So that's basically what was happening.
Was there something they needed from inside the house?
No, not in particular. It's just they saw you guys, and what they would do is they would inject you with a thing. And again, spoilers. There's a little track, like a humanity track that I was following for you all based upon the things that you were doing.
Mm-hmm.
You could become, and if your humanity was if you were a decent human and you weren't doing like really violent, awful things, you eventually could have been part of their collective and you could have ascended with them. But if you were too violent and crazy, you would become a monster to them, and you would be suddenly,
Yasha.
which is in you, Amada. The two of you actually both hit monster. Elmina, you did not hit monster, but you were one tick away.
I?
Yeah, you
Oh,
were
God.
close. You were close. It's a judgment call to some degree, but like, but it was, yeah. Yasha was just. I think they're having nightmares of Yasha. They're like, oh god.
Yeah.
So somewhere up
I
in
mean-
up in space, they're
Once that one injected me, I was like, oh, okay, they're hostile. I didn't take it as anything else. but
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
interesting.
Yeah.
For sure. But that's like one of the things I kind of liked about when I read this. Like, first of all, I saw the art and the art was awesome. Like I saw some of
Yeah.
like the preview art and everything, and I love this kind of stuff. But like the other thing was just I like that sometimes it went against type, and like you think, oh, these are just zombies, right? And they're not
They're
really,
not. They're
right? Which is
people.
really cool, like in that
Yeah.
way. I like that kind of idea. And then I really like the meter, as in like if you kill them, which instinctively makes sense, right? From like a meta perspective of like an RPG, like we think, oh, we're getting attacked, we gotta smash them and kill them and stuff like that. And it kind of plays against it in some way. So, but you all still got away, but you live with now kind of this emptiness in your souls, as you were not able to ascend. So
Where we can't ascend, yeah.
So
yeah.
is that why the emptiness happened? Is because we had hit that monster?
Yeah, but also because you kind of left. There's a couple of engine underneath a probability dome. So basically, it created what's called a probability dome, and that's like within the radius of that, things kind of got sucked up and ascended. I'm just using ascended as a shorthand.
Yeah.
And once you guys left, then you basically lost your opportunity to do so, whether you wanted to or not. Yeah. So that is Let Us In. I'm going to drop also another link. If you're in the chat, take a look at Bundle of Holding right now online. And if you're checking this out on YouTube, maybe it's still up. I'm not sure what the ending date is. But Ultraviolet Grasslands, one of my favorite games we've been playing for the past couple of months. Electric Bastion Land, which the four of us, we've played for
Oh, we love it.
a while. I've backed that stuff on Kickstarter. We wrote and played a couple of different things. I think we referenced our Meat and Cheese Consortium, Cloud9 from Outer Space, Monstrosities of Surrealism, and The Night at the Rock Opera, which I think did you play in that one, Ashley? I don't remember. Were you in The Night at the Rock
I
Opera?
did. I
Yeah,
was.
that was with like
Yeah.
Jake and Jeremy and whatnot. It was pretty nuts. That was a lot of fun.
That was when he was like, he had triplets
Yeah.
and 2 of them died.
Two of them died. One of them became a robot, and the other one became a zombie. So he was so our friend Jeremy, he rolled conjoined triplets as his Electric Bastion character, basically, because it's totally random. And then one of them, like as we were playing, one of them immediately got killed. But then they made him into a zombie, and the other one they like strapped on some kind of like robotic thing. So he was conjoined triplets by the end of the game. One of whom was a robot, one of whom was a normal boy in the middle, and one of whom was a zombie.
My
That's-
character just drove the yacht.
Yeah, and you just drove the yacht.
What
Yeah,
was
yeah.
going on?
And
You
the
were-
zombie kept trying
was
to
great.
eat me.
Yeah.
Lots of fun with these games.
So anyway, yeah, I highly recommend them. If I had it my way, I would play them regularly. And Into the Odd, just back down on Kickstarter about a month ago, Free League is doing a like new edition of it. Looks gorgeous. Already got like the PDF preview of it, and that's kind of what we were pulling from for this. Looking forward to running more of that. So, but that's it for us. I think we've gone on very, 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 very long. But we also aren't playing tomorrow. We'll be back next Monday. Melissa and I will be here playing Alien with our friends. Melissa and I will also be on Tuesday over on the Sirenscape channel, playing the finale of our Call of Cthulhu game that our friend Matt, who is in the Alien game, our friend Matt runs it, and we got our finale. And then Thursday on Garblag Games, I'm running Delta Green, and then we'll figure out what we're doing for Friday next week. I'm not sure yet, so I'm not sure if we're back to Delta Green or probably not, but we might do something else. But that's it. Thank you for everybody who hung out and watched. Thank you for the bits helping us get that hype train in the beginning. Thank you for all of you that are watching this later on VOD or on YouTube or whatever it might be. Go get this game. Go get all those other games we mentioned because they're pretty awesome. People should play more indie RPGs because there's so much cool stuff, and there's so many people who deserve attention. And so we're just happy to do it. No one's paying us to do this. We're just doing it because we like this shit. So that's it. Have a good night. We're going to raid somebody. Our buddies over at Defenders are playing their new Shadowrun campaign. So we're going to go ahead and give them a raid. So good night, everybody.
Bye. Thanks,
Night,
everybody.
everybody.
Later.